#2 in the series last year. Hungry for more. Tom Peck, best chance for the Pennsylvanian to strut his stuff. He'll sit in the seat of the championship winning car. Johnny Benson Jr., the ASA champion, he is moving on up to Busch Series racing. Dale Earnhardt looks for a 2-week-in-a-row win and his 5th triumph at the Rock. Some of the cars and some of the stars you'll see today live on TNN. TNN Motorsports proudly presents live exclusive coverage of the Goodwrench 200 from the North Carolina Motor Speedway at Rockingham. It is a cold, windy, blustery day here at the Rock. A lot of snowmobile suits in the grandstand replacing the suntan oil for Daytona. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy along with Buddy Baker. And, Buddy, for many of these drivers, Daytona stands by itself, and here is kind of where their season really starts.
Well, Daytona's kind of the glitter part. Now we're down to the brass knuckle part of the season where everybody gets together and says, okay, guys, we had a bad Daytona or a good Daytona, but now we have to make the car perfect in handling and everything, so we really got to get with it.
For 3 years on TNN, we've sat alongside our good friend and colleague Neil Bonnet. And Buddy and I have agreed over these last 12 days that the toughest of this season will be when we walk down in that booth and Neil's not walking right behind us to say, how y'all doing? We got a letter here at the Speedway today from a fan in upstate New York that expresses what a lot of us are thinking. And she writes, I never had the privilege to meet Neil, but like many others, he seemed like an old friend and neighbor to all of us. And on race days, he'll truly be missed. The broadcasts will go on, but we'll remember his enthusiasm. So will we all. His seat can't be filled, that's for sure. But we'll have a guest with us this afternoon who can add some of his own wit and insight and enthusiasm, Darrell Waltrip. And you spent a good bit of time on this racetrack this weekend. What's different? Well,
First of all, just let me say that I'm glad I'm here, but I hate to be here under the circumstances. But the big difference this weekend is the tires. I hate for that to be the first thing out of my mouth, but that's kind of what's going on. It's going to be the story of the week, I guess, for a while. Right now, Hoosier Tires is on the front row here for the Busch race, and Goodyear's lined up behind them. And the real test, I guess, is going to be to see which one will prevail. At Daytona, Goodyear prevailed, and we'll have to see what happens here today. But, you know, Buddy, you've been involved in a few tire wars in your career. What do you think about this one?
Well, I tell you, it's kind of the story of the good, bad, and the ugly. I tell you what, I really didn't know which tire to use, and a lot of us walked around with a limp for a while.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. I was talking about tire wars. And,
not us.
Not you two guys.
No mirrors in the Waltrip family.
We will be back, I hope, right after these messages.
Exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 200 from Rockingham is being brought to you by Mr. Goodwrench, the GM expert at participating GM dealerships.
Welcome back to the Rock, where this sunny picture belies the cool weather that awaits the Busch Grand National fans here today and the drivers down on the starting grid waiting to get a little heat in these cars and in those cockpits. Let's go down trackside. Len Jarrett.
Well, Mike, the last few times that we have been at Rockingham, Joe Bessie has run awfully well in the Busch Grand National race. In fact, if you watched this last fall, he certainly had the car to win the race and wound up running a strong third. He's back today. He's in that same car. Joe, you got to be excited about your prospects.
We're real excited, Glenn. We had some major disappointment at Daytona. To come back to Rockingham, sort of like coming home. And I think we got a real good chance of winning this race here today. And we're real close on signing major sponsorship. And there's nothing I'd like more than to win one for all the little people that have helped me along the way to get to where I've gotten here today in this Busch Series.
Well, he has a good setup for this track. He loves to drive here. It's awfully windy down here, but I got a feeling Joe Bessie might be the guy to blow him away today. Randy?
Well, there's a possibility of one person, and he's on the front row. He could blow them all away today. It's Robert Presley. He started off the season very well, finished 9th in the Goodies 300 at Daytona last week. He's on Hoosier tires. He qualified at 148.257 miles per hour. Keeping score at home, that's a tick under 25 seconds. We would talk to Robert, but the media wore him out after he won the pole position. Seems he came down with a little laryngitis. I also want to show you one other thing. No sponsor on the hood of this race car, so if anybody's got any loose change hanging around, they can get on it for Richmond, but not today. On the front row, over here in position 2, Shauna Robinson, also on Hoosier tires. Shauna, you've had a little trouble running up front in this series. I know you want to get some respect from America and also the drivers in the garage area. Maybe both of those goals could be accomplished today.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're hoping for. The Polaroid car's running real good. You know, I think anything, I want to get the respect from the fans because they've been supporting me through the rough times in this series, and I'm sure there'll be more rough times, but we're going to start today on making some good times.
Okay, good luck. Mike Joy.
Thanks, Randy. Patty Moe, you said at Road Atlanta, and Shauna Robinson here, the only female drivers to sit on the front row of a Busch or Winston Cup race. Here's the Haviland update. It was the Battle of the Dales last week in Daytona for the first Busch race of the year, the Goodies 300. Starting 23rd, Dale Jarrett fought his way to the front, but couldn't pass this man, Dale Earnhardt, who kept his non-Winston Cup winning streak going. 5 Goodies 300s in a row and his 23rd win at Daytona. Took the lead from Terry Labonte on the last lap and took home close to $51,000. Earnhardt leads Jarrett, Chad Little, Labonte, and Ernie Irvan in the Busch Series points. Well, in the race for Rookie of the Year, put Randy Porter atop the board over Kirk Shelmerdine, Andy Hillenberg, Johnny Benson Jr., and Dennis Setzer. And you're looking at the front row for today's Goodwrench 200. Robert Presley and Shauna Robinson. We'll be back to take you through the entire starting grid and drop the green flag right after this. Welcome back to Rockingham, North Carolina. Let's have a look at the Sears Die-Hard starting grid for today's Goodwrench 200. 4th career pole for Robert Presley, and the first time on the front row for the lady from Des Moines, Shauna Robinson. Row number 2, Kenny Wallace, who finished 8th last week at Daytona, and Mark Martin going for his 4th win in a row. Johnny Benson Jr., best super speedway start for the youngster from Michigan, and Roy Payne, his best start also, there in the 3rd row. Row number 4, Harry Gant, twice a winner here, and Terry Labonte, who led the white flag lap at Daytona, finished 4th. Mike Garvey graduates from the All-Pro ranks, and Joe Bessie was 3rd here in October. Kirk Shelmerdine, Dale Earnhardt's former crew chief, out-qualified his former boss, and Mike Wallace, who won the ARCA race at Daytona. David Bonnet makes his 3rd career start at Rockingham, and the local driver from nearby Hoffman, Barry Bostic. Jason Keller finished 8th here a year ago, and 25-year-old Chad Chaffin, Tennessee. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Hermie Sadler in row 9 with David Green, who finished 5th in this race last year. Chad Little ran a strong 3rd at Daytona, and Dave Resendiz, who has a pair of top 10 finishes here. Ronald Cooper makes his 2nd start here since '89, and Tracy Leslie looks for his 2nd Busch Series win. Randy LaJoie started 3 races here, has 2 top 10 finishes, and Tom Peck, who was 10th at Daytona. South Carolina short track ace Randy Porter in row 13 with 2-time USAC National Midget champ Stevie Reeves. Billy Standridge in the 14th row, along with Jim Bound in the Hubert Hensley car. Row number 15, Dale Jarrett, winner back here in '91, and Richard Lassiter makes his 7th Rockingham start. Dennis Setzer off the short tracks. He's from Conover, North Carolina, and Phil Parsons, who finished 2nd here in '89. Ricky Craven, runner-up in the points last year, and Bobby Daughter makes his 10th Rockingham start. Dale Earnhardt starts way back in 35th position, 4-time winner here, next to Morgan Shepherd, who won this race in '86 and '87. Elton Sawyer makes his first Rockingham start since '91, and Ken Wallace from Pennsylvania, no relation to Kenny, Rusty, and Mike. Rodney Combs in the Richard Petty car, and Tommy Houston in his 360th consecutive career start. Mike McLaughlin, the former National Modified champion, and Tim Fedor, the sophomore from Michigan, are the provisional starters. Rockingham is unique. It's just over a mile. It's D-shaped. Professor Baker, who helps run the Buck Baker Driving School here at this speedway. You see turns 1 and 2 different from 3 and 4, and the straightaways are different. Is this 2 different racetracks at each end?
Absolutely. You run one corner, of course, with the dog leg, you have a lot of room to let the car go out and actually run faster down the front straightaway. The back straightaway, if you come off too wide, you knock the wall down, so you really have to be careful.
Today's weather. Now, come on, when they showed us this in rehearsal, it said too windy. And it is. I think it's about 35 up on the roof. Sunny and windy. 43 Richard Petty-like degrees, and that sky is Petty blue. Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford, who has won the last 2 of spring Busch races here. We'll show you these views from his 360-degree pan tilt race cam over his shoulder. And the roof cam gives you a pretty good look at what Mark sees, and that camera can also pan right and left as he looks left at Kenny Wallace. And if anybody can get close to Mark, we'll see him right here from the bumper cam off the rear bumper. It's going to be 2 laps before we get a green. Let's try to check in with Mark Martin. Mark, this is TNN. Can you copy us here? Double check if Eddie may be on with his crew, trying to get ready for this thing to get rolling. You see the roof cam up there on the front. They mount that right in the center of the car instead of right or left, so I guess it doesn't interfere aerodynamically one side or the other. In today's race, David Bonnet had planned all along to enter this race here at Rockingham. Said he never really had any second thoughts about continuing his career. Though it was a little tough to strap in that car for the first practice laps Friday, he told the press. He said he doesn't hope to follow in the legacy of his father. He just hopes to become half as good as driver and ambassador to the sport. Here's Randy Pemberton.
Well, as Darrell talked about earlier, this is definitely a tire war. We have Hoosier versus Goodyear right now. Here's the way it works out today. These cars are all allowed to take on 2 tires per position on the race car. That is it. They're not allowed to switch from Hoosier to Goodyear during this event. Whatever you qualify on, that's what you're starting on. And we'll also keep track to see which tire fades earlier, because that could very well determine the winner of this race.
Ricky Craven coming along back up into position as we get ready to start here. 42 cars are in this field. 197 laps the distance. Sam Arn holds the race record here at Rockingham as the field is formed up for a start next time by behind the Pontiac Firebird safety car. Nice crowd on hand despite the cool weather.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I'm thinking about Shauna sitting there. This is the best starting spot she's ever had in her career. And I know she really wants to run well. I hope she gets off to a good start here. That's going to be real critical for her.
Well, Darrell, she's real lucky. She has a gentleman behind her that'll watch out for her a little bit, Mark Martin. And I was looking at that roof cam a while ago. If things go the way they usually do, all you'll see is racetrack out of the front of that thing.
That's about the truth. That car's been super fast all the end of last year. Won here, and I'm sure he's going to have a good run today.
We saw a couple of fellas at practice yesterday afternoon. Looked like they might challenge Mark Martin here at the Rock. Robert Presley, the black car on the pole. Shauna Robinson and Ed Fariz, orange machine on the outside. Starter holding them down, and now green is displayed. We're underway. Presley coming up quickly through the gearbox. Robinson on the bottom as they go through turn 1 and 2. Nice clean start, but the field strings out pretty quickly. Mark Martin in third as they go to turn number 3. Side by side battling from about 5th on back. Johnny Benson Jr. to the inside of Roy Payne for 5th. Trouble up in turn 3. The back of the pack. 2 cars involved in it, and it looks like we'll stay green. Ken Wallace made contact with another car and spun down to the bottom of the speedway. Looks like he and Mike McLaughlin.
You see Mark Martin up beside Shauna Robinson there. He's giving her plenty of room.
Hey, you know, the Fords are really fast this year. I noticed at Daytona, you know, 28 car, the 11 car, and Mark took off there at the end of the race. And one of those cars would win that race, and they hadn't had trouble. So the Fords are really fast this year.
See Kenny Wallace going in 3rd place there. He is really running a good race. He's one of the fastest cars in all the practice.
Harry Gann on the left of your screen in that light green Mannheim auction car, Terry Bottom. 6th and 7th.
So far, so good. Everybody's doing a good job of getting themselves in line, getting singled out here, and that's what you want to see happen on the start.
Here's this battle. Not too far back off the lead. 4th place on back. Johnny Benson Jr., Shauna Robinson. Johnny in the Staff America number 74 car, the black and red machine. And here are your leaders.
And then that front group right there, you see the green car, that's Harry Gann. I'm getting where I like that paint job. You know, I'm getting a lot of
yeah, it's an interesting paint job. And there's Terry Labonte right there behind Harry. That's a fast car. Of course, we got talked to Joe Bessie. He thinks he's got a good shot here, and he's kind of finding his way up to the field.
Bessie right with that pack. The black car last in line. That's number 97. Roy Payne just behind sponsored cars in this field.
See Kurt Sherman coming down pit road here in the 19 car. It's early in the race.
11 racing car to pit road. Dennis Setzer, rookie in the Alliance Training Center car, 59. Banking turn number 3. This battle's a bit deep in the field. 27th position here.
Mark's got to do traffic I believe Mark's the class in the field. Has been the last couple times we've been here.
There's no question. There's 3 black cars out in front of the field.
Yeah.
You know, Robert Presley, Mark Martin, and Kenny Wallace.
See Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt going along there. They're on a steady march towards the front also.
They're in 24th and 25th positions. Earnhardt started 35th. Robert Presley out front by himself. Bill Papke Racing. Here's the battle once again. 24th spot, the pick and pay Chevy of Dale Jarrett. Goodwrench Chevy of Earnhardt moving up on the Detroit Gasket Chevy of Tracy Leslie, number 72.
I didn't talk to Dale, but he had a terrible qualifying run. Started, what, 35th? I don't know if that was a problem when he qualified or
that back 11 seconds. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, Kirk Shelmerdine pushing the car behind the wall. I asked the crew what happened. They just said motor with a just a big disappointed look on their face. They ran so well at Daytona, only to get a crash. Kirk was actually running inside the top 10, but his day is over today. He'll have to wait till next time.
3 wide as they stream past Ken Wallace, TGI Friday's car.
Boy, Ken Wallace was a high-speed road or a low-speed roadblock for a high-speed customer.
Joe Bessie on the inside of the 74. Johnny Benson Jr. And Roy Payne hanging with that pack.
You think Harry Gant sitting there saying this carburetor missing?
I guarantee you, if we could talk to him right now, he'd say, oh, they're just skipping a little bit, but I don't know. I'll see how, maybe it'll get better. Just like that. Sorry, guys. That 41 car over there was sideways, and he looks like he's trying to get out by his way now. He had a little help getting that way.
Yeah. 11 laps to lead here in the spot. And Robert Presley, the pole sitter out front of the battle here. Shauna Robinson starting the outside pole in the Polaroid 46. Back there at 6th place, battling Johnny Benson Jr. and Joe Bessie. 97. Benson's going to try the bottom side as they come off 4 and down the front straightaway.
You know, this is a good show for Benson because he's made a couple of races crashed. I'm sure he's that he's having a good
and Bessie as well.
Okay, you see Mark Martin has run down the 99 car now, and he's on a steady move. That car really works well later in the race.
Tired car in the lead. Goodyear shot machine in 2nd.
Wow, I seen the car a little bit sideways from Presley there, coming out the corner. Looks like right there might be giving up just a little bit.
Yeah, he was awful fast. You know, the car might be just a little bit loose. That'll make you fast for a little while, but it'll also get you.
Back into turn 1 they go. Finishes a race in this series, usually it's in victory lane.
He's having trouble right now staying off the apron. He's right down against that white line all the way through the corner. He's going to get him sooner or later. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, you know, Robert looks better in 1 and 2, and Mark looks a lot better in 3 and 4. What's the difference in the setup, I guess?
Lap traffic, bit of a factor there. That's Mike McLaughlin in the Fiddle Faddle Hyde Tool Chevy. Red car, and Presley has to take a little time dealing with Mike and Mark Martin.
You got the car loose, Darrell, and you have to go high like that. That's not a pleasant thing to have to do.
Oh, no. You don't want that. You want to keep that thing when it's loose right on that white line. It keeps you really on the edge of your seat when the car's loose, because it'll go fast, but you just really got to stay on top of it so they get out one.
letting him close in. He's actually trying to pass on the outside right now.
See, Mark's car's a little tight, and so he can go up high on the outside and stay in the gas and go right by him.
Robert gives him room. And the leader, Mark Martin, Dixie Ford.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to see that camera work for a little while.
You got that rear bumper camera. That's the view most of the field may have. Presley's not going to give it up without a fight here.
That's Robert Presley. He's a hard driver. He's not going to let Mark just go back.
He reminds me a lot of Dale Earnhardt as far as giving anything up. You have to take it. You don't give anything.
Rodney Combs comes to him. Presley is the kind of guy, if you had a race car, you'd want him. Hard starting style. And hard because he's just so much fun to be around. He's quiet, but he's a funny guy. He enjoys what he's doing. It's real evident.
Seats and
Let's go to Randy on pit road.
Rodney Combs, number 43, evidently they dropped the cylinder. They also had a fender rubbing them. And so Rodney Combs, all kinds of problems after having a fender rubbing last week. No determination as to what it is at this time. He's now 2 laps on.
King needs a rubber band on that hat. It blew right off his head there.
Oh, trouble. One car loose, gathers it in.
If you're like me, that's happened a couple times back there, but they've been able to hang on to it. I thought that group of cars right there has got my attention because I tell you, they're really running close together and doing a lot of losing it.
10th on back.
You guys are doing it bad. It's like listening to the announcer there at Charlotte. I've been out of my chair twice.
Whoa, look at Earnhardt. Whoa.
Ricky Craven got shot way up the racetrack on that one. Lost 3 spots as Earnhardt made a place for himself.
Yeah, he did. It's a good thing Ricky Craven went high, is all I can tell. Yeah, because he was going to go high.
There's Dale. He's past Tracy Leslie. So Earnhardt has now moved up to 20th position.
He's finding a little running room up on the outside. These guys get all conscious about staying on the bottom of the racetrack, and they start slowing down to keep that car on the lower groove, and Earnhardt, he'll get up on the high side and come on by him.
There's Randy LaJoie in the blue car, the Fina Lube car. The orange car is David Green, then David Bonnet in that black number 12. And then this group, 23.
Oh, here we go.
Turn 1.
Boom.
Man, there's a bunch of cars in that.
Boom.
And Earnhardt's in it. David Bonnet just missed it. You rarely see Dale Earnhardt drive into a wreck, and you just did. He is one of the best in this business at missing them.
Sometimes.
You know, when you run that high line like that in that much traffic, though, if there is an accident, you're probably going to get into it because they're going to slide up the racetrack right in front of you, and that's what happened to him.
It started well in front of him, but you can see the damage to the left front as Earnhardt couldn't get stopped and didn't have a place to change lanes.
The bad part of that area in the race car there is where the oil cooler and everything else is at.
Now this is late into it. See the spinning car well up front. Earnhardt goes high. That's 27 spinning. Roy Payne.
They call these racetracks that have a lot of bank self-cleaning, but they don't clean right away. And just like Darrell said, they go up first.
Yep, they go up, hit the wall, and then come back down.
Well, Dale Jarrett was involved. Now here's the front of it. Watch the white car way to the front.
This is that group I've been talking about, that they've been running so close
Roy
together.
Payne got a little sideways there.
Yeah, he's around in 44 car.
Look at Randy LaJoie. You talk about close.
Yep. David Bonnet just got into the back of David Green, and there he goes.
There goes David Green right into the left front of Roy Payne's car.
Now watch at the top. David Bonnet just misses this. I don't know how.
See Morgan Shepherd right up against the wall up there.
Yeah.
Hermie Sadler, Tracy Leslie getting turned. Dave Rezendes is in it, and there's Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Just couldn't miss Roy Payne.
And David Bonnet, I mean, they just went all around him, but they never hit him.
And let's also point out, not only could Earnhardt not miss him, he couldn't see him with all that tire smoke either. We're under caution at The Rock. We will be right back. Join us live here at The Rock on the network that brings you more NASCAR racing than anybody else. David Bonnet is in.
And they may work on the car. They may just work on him after he went through that accident up there. He might want to come and get a drink.
Speaking of work, in front of Dale Earnhardt's car.
That's a pretty smart move, though. He was right in the middle of that wreck, and he might have run over something. It's always better to change those tires and maybe not have a flat in front of everybody when the race starts back.
Oh, yeah. It gives him somewhat of an advantage later on. You know, looking at Earnhardt's car, after Daytona, the Saturday race down there, I wouldn't count him out, folks. He might still have a shot.
He's still on the lead lap, but he's at a bit of a disadvantage pitting on the backstretch side of the racetrack. They pit 20 cars in front, and everybody else pits on the backstretch side.
Yeah, that's definitely not a plus. Not here, anyway.
Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, we're down here amidst all these cars trying to get the wreck repairs completed. So Hermie Sadler back in, Roy Payne. Shauna Robinson also pitted. She was not involved in it, but she complained that the car was very, very loose. Now, she was on Hoosier Tires, and they did change all 4 tires, put a bunch of wedge in the car. Crew Chief Terry Allen told me that it was just real, real loose. It was very uncomfortable. So we'll see what happens. Here comes Dave Resendez back in. A lot of cars really torn up there.
Oh, Dave's going to need a nose job.
Ricky Craven, David Green.
So that Dave is, too.
And
on top of that, the hood flew up, and that's probably busted the windshield.
You're not supposed to open those tea bags. You're just supposed to dunk them the way they are, right? He's got that one opened up.
That one there's falling apart. Well, you know, I feel a lot better about jumping out of my seat because that was coming.
You just jumped before the wreck. You knew there was going to be one.
Here comes Redenzez, or however how you say his name.
Dave will do.
Dave will do. Looking out the side window here.
Yep.
I got a little story to tell while we're on a little break here. I had a hood fly up like that in practice session in Atlanta. I'd had trouble with my neck for years. And that thing flew up going down the back straightaway and hit me and just made a dome out of the top on my head. I never had another moment's trouble with my neck from that day forward. So that was my chiropractor.
Well, Darryl, you had the best hood story, I think, at Dover when when one of yours flipped up.
Yeah.
And you had to get radio controlled around the racetrack.
Oh yeah, and it was on national TV.
Yeah.
they never come up unless it's on national TV.
Let's go to Randy.
Well, Earnhardt is pulled in. He's pitting on the backstretch back here. As you can see, I mean, massive damage in the front end of this car. And he's getting ready to pull away, but as Darrell can attest, that's going to have a lot of lift on it. And let me tell you, you do need aerodynamics here at a 1-mile track. He's in for a rough day from here on in.
Yeah, I'd say so. The big thing is that the car won't drive like it did, and it may have knocked a toe out as well. And he's just trying to get stuff pulled out of the way so he can get back to running and see if he's going to have anything there to work with or not.
Might be overheating as well as a report. I remember that day you told me that Randy Dorton, your spotter, drove the car around the racetrack for you.
I could see absolutely nothing, and I just listened to him, and he said, you're almost there, you're almost there, you're here, turn, stop, back up, pull over, and all that good stuff.
Well, the water's ready for tea.
Wow. It's kind of rough.
Tough break for Dave Resendez.
Yeah, it is.
Tracy Leslie makes a stop, comes back out. Still a little bit of cleanup down in turns 1 and 2, so we're a lap or 2 from going racing here.
Well, I wonder how Mark's feeling along now. He's had to work real hard.
Well, it's a position he's practiced quite a bit down here. So.
I know.
Well, 1 to go. We're going racing.
Oh, 1 to go.
So it's Mark Martin in front, Robert Presley in second, Kenny Wallace in third, the 3 black cars. Then Harry Gant in fourth. Terry Labonte is fifth. Running in sixth is Joe Bessie as we get set to go back to green. Johnny Benson Jr. is 7th. 8th, Mike Wallace. 9th is Mike Garvey. Good run in the early going for him. Jason Keller is running 11th. Randy LaJoy is 12th. Chad Little in 13th position. After Chad, let's put the 31 car of Tom Peck, new driver for Steve Grissom Motorsports. 14th is going to be Ronald Cooper. 15th is Phil Parsons. 16th, Dennis Setzer. 17th, Elton Sawyer. 18th, Bobby Daughter. 19th, Morgan Shepherd. And 20th, Kevin LePage from Vermont. The Vermont Teddy Bear Company is on that car, and they got teddy bears all over the place.
What, do they make teddy bears?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. I've seen the trailer that sells them at the racetrack yesterday. They got them from 8 foot tall down to a hand size.
I'll send Jessica and Sarah over to see that young man.
Good deal. Green flag, and we're back to green at lap 30 of 197 laps. Mark Martin comes up the racetrack just a little bit, and there's a little muscle there as Kenny Wallace gets past the lap car, and Harry Gant comes right up on him in that green machine. From Mark Martin, this is the front of Robert Presley's car.
Well, front looks good. working real nice. Bouncing up and down just a little bit as it comes through the turn.
They're running real soft springs in the cars, and you see them jumping up and down when they hit these bumps.
Yeah, the strategy here is, uh-oh, watch out, Harry.
Third place battle just behind these leaders. Kenny Wallace has Harry Gant with him.
I need my own camera, guys. I mean, you know. Harry just got by Kenny Wallace.
Trouble in 3. One car shoots to the right, up and into the wall hard. That's the 35. Randy Porter, the short track driver, got turned by another car and made a sharp right to the fence.
We don't like to analyze it before we know everything, but that was a hard lick he took, almost head on into the outside wall.
Yeah.
The roll out of the throttle coming back to the flag. That's David Bonnet underneath Porter going into the corner. Porter is the white car, and they get together.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened there? 35 car did not see Dave Bonnet under him, and he come down, and they just hit just a little bit. But that part of the racetrack, there's little you can do once you're touched.
Yeah, it's almost the 35 realized the 12 was under him. He realized he didn't want to cut into him and let him go.
So we're under caution once again at 33 laps. We'll be right back.
TNN's exclusive coverage of the Goodwrench 200 is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Welcome back to Rockingham. Let's join Randy Pemberton in the Busch garage.
Well, Dale Jarrett's standing here. He's trying to smile, but it's not working too well. Dale, tough luck, couldn't miss the wreck. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I had it missed, really. I saw it happening, and I got slowed down and was going down towards the bottom of the track, and one of the cars that was involved came off and got me in the right front. So, you know, it's just one of those deals happening. It's good, hard racing up there, and everybody trying.
What about tomorrow? We got Sunday coming up. You've got a little jinx on your shoulders. Didn't have a good Daytona, and here we are. You didn't qualify so well for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, we're struggling right now. Nothing going right. It seems that every move that we make is the wrong direction to go, and hopefully we'll get everything straightened out. You know, we've got good sponsors with both cars, with Shoe World and Interstate, and hopefully things will get going, and we can be a factor tomorrow. We got a long way to go, and you know, you got to worry about the same type of things happening, but we got to be aggressive at the same time.
Okay, good luck, Dale. Now let's go to your brother, Glenn Jarrett, who's with Robert Presley. What's going on there, Glenn?
Well, I'd like to be with Robert, Randy. He's in the car. I'm just in his pit. But I watched on that last green flag run. I watched how he pressured Mark Martin. And I came down and asked if he was really having a problem. And they said no, that he just decided to back off, save the tires for a while. The car might have been just a little bit loose, but they were just going to try to save the tires. He was trying to run Mark a little harder to get him to use his tires up. So playing a little cat and mouse with him right now. But they still think he's got the car to win the race.
I don't know. Mark Martin is your leader. Robert Presley is second, and this man, Harry Gant, is third.
Let me ask you something. You see Harry Gant sitting there. He's skipped and popped his way all the way up to the front now. How many times have you heard this story, Dan?
I'm telling you, we was at Richmond. He beat us for the race, win there, one of the night races in the Busch Series here. Got out after race over and come over and I was talking to him. I said, man, your car is running. He said, oh, that old car, I didn't think I was going to be able to handle you boys. It was just a skipping all the way down the straightaway. And that's where he passed his head, down the straightaway. I'll tell you, he's a funny man to listen to. He's always got a story to tell.
And he's running third. Kenny Wallace is fourth. As we look a little back through the field here, there's Wallace in the TIC Financial. Number 8. These shots from our DuPont Automotive Finishes helicopter high above the North Carolina Motor Speedway. And let's go back to Randy.
Dale Earnhardt standing back here, just got out of your car. What's the deal?
Well, it messed front end up so bad that it's pushed when we went back out there, and it's not going to run good like that, and it's going to be in the way and take another chance of turning it on up. We got to run this car at Richmond next week, so not running for points. We decided just to get out of the way and let them race, but I think we'd have been okay, even, you know, maybe the top 10 car. But Mark and them guys are flying. We're not really hooked up today, so we'll see what we can do tomorrow.
Preview tomorrow for us. How you running?
Running pretty good. It's going to be, I think, the same kind of Rockingham. You got to save your tires and run consistent, and I think there's a couple cars there that's running good naturally, and that's Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace. I think it's really consistent on the track. And we went out and run some long runs this morning and felt like trying to get our car consistent as we could, like we did in the past here. We finished second here in these races, so maybe we can do it again.
Okay, good luck tomorrow.
Don't forget, you'll see the Goodwrench 500 here on TNN Live. Our coverage begins at 12 noon. Tommy Houston comes off pit road. Has no sponsorship for this year. Picked up the Luxair sponsorship for today. Mike Stefanik, their driver, injured at Daytona, chipped his shin bone and fractured a toe in that multi-car tangle. So is sidelined today, and so Tommy, running his own car with his own team, has picked up that sponsorship for the afternoon. Looking at Terry Allen and his Polaroid crew for Shauna Robinson and a whole bunch of guys with winter weather clothes on.
Yeah, it's chilly out there today, and of course it's going to be about the same tomorrow, but that's good for the drivers and the cars because they like that cold air.
Not so good for the pit crews.
No, they got to wrap up and stay warm, but it makes the cars run better, makes them handle a little bit better. You don't get the track so hot and slick and greasy like it does when it's you know, the summer race here.
Lights out on top of the Pontiac safety car. One lap will go racing.
Okay, you see this tape on the nose of the 99 car, Robert Presley? I'm gonna let Darrell tell you a little bit about that. What they do is they put tape on these cars because they run too cool, and they have to tape off a certain, well, I just about answered it for you.
Yeah, well, go ahead. I mean,
what are you going to let him tell us, buddy?
Do you want me to tell him that part of it's coming off and he might be running too cool?
Well,
that'd be good.
What it does, though, it will make the car push a little more when that tape, if it does come off.
It will. It creates a little bit more downforce on the nose. You do it for a number of reasons. To make the engine run ever what temperature you want it to. Also, it plants the nose just a little bit better. So he's losing that tape, and he could be losing maybe somewhat of some aerodynamic advantage he had.
Well, since he's loose, that may help him.
It could help him very much, yeah. And being behind Mark helps him too.
Green flag once again. Mark Martin, Robert Presley. That's Mike McLaughlin up in the high lane, one lap down. He settles in before Harry Gant in third, Kenny Wallace in fourth, and Terry Labonte in fifth. Joe Bessie, the sixth place car. Johnny Benson seventh. Mike Wallace is up there as well in the eighth position. Good clean restart as they come around turn 4.
Well, Harry didn't get any breaks there. Mike McLaughlin tried to get out of the way, but it cost him a little bit of time there having to back off for him.
Gant now with Terry Labonte up and underneath. That MW Windows car.
Talk about a car that's run really well this year is Terry Labonte. I mean, he had a chance to win Daytona and certainly got a chance here today. He's running quite well.
Yeah, he is.
Both ends of Daytona, Saturday and Sunday. Labonte had a good shot.
He's in good shape this year.
And you know, I talked to him after the race. There he is in the white car number 14. And I said, well, you must really be tickled. He says, yeah. He says, people are going to think I learned how to drive again. You know, I mean, having good equipment is so much a part of this equation. He's always been a good driver. Maybe he just hasn't quite been able to show it as much as he can this year.
Well, sometimes you can just, if you can just focus on your driving, you don't have to focus on working on the car or worrying about anything else. You can be a lot better race car driver. And in fact, you do drive better. So I think that's part of it.
That's what I was going to say. When I was hooked up with the 28 car team years back, that was the one thing. I got smarter as I got faster.
Yeah, you can just do a lot better job. You don't have your hands full with other things. You can just go out and drive the car.
Randy LaJoie tries to make the move underneath Jason Keller. Nothing there. Let's get an update on Robert Presley's car from Glenn.
Boy, race drivers are a little quirky these days, DW. Right before that restart, Harry Gant reported there was fluid coming from Robert Presley's car, so I ran over and asked the crew chief what's going on. He said, well, Robert spilled his water jug. They got a spare here. Next time he pits, they're going to have to put in a spare water jug for Robert. Said he couldn't make it on one jug.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. I found that.
Here's Randy.
Randy Porter has just walked out of the infield care center. Randy, first of all, I know you just told me you're okay. What happened out there?
I was just racing hard after that restart. I don't even know who it was. Somebody was under me a little bit. We just got together going in the corner, and I got a little overcorrected, and it got up in the wall. It's okay, and I guess welcome to Busch Grand National Racing.
You're on Hoosier tires. How were they?
They were good. I lost about 6 or 8 spots in that last caution, just getting through it, slowing down and missing the wreck, and we were running pretty good, just holding our own and trying to finish this thing, pick up some more rookie points.
First Rockingham start for Porter. He'll be back, and I think he'll be a good addition to this series.
Yeah, he's a good, aggressive young driver, and I think he'll get the job done eventually.
Watching Robert Presley, I tell you what, he's hooked up pretty good, Darrell. He's not losing any ground to Mark, and that's hard to do at this racetrack.
Yeah, I think what he's doing is just what he said what his crew said he's doing. He's going to run the car just every how hard Mark's going to run. There's 2 different brands of tires there, so they're each going to kind of play the game and see who's the last the longest.
There are your 2 leaders, Mark Martin, and now looking back at Robert Presley, it's Ford versus Chevrolet, and it's Goodyear versus Hoosier at the front of the field here.
But I am somewhat disappointed that he's going to have to get another water jug. Now, we're talking about how rough and tough he is and how aggressive he is, but he can't make it on one jug of water.
Well, he must be pretty sick. He has laryngitis, so that would have a little bit to do with it.
Yeah, maybe he's got the flu.
8th place battle. Randy LaJoie trying to hold off Mike Wallace. And the 0 car right in there with him is Mike Garvey from Atlanta.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you, I got to quit watching the cars come off of turn 2. I can't watch. I'm going to stop watching them come off of that corner because I want to punch somebody about every other lap. There's weird things go on from up here when those cars come off turn 2.
You know, buddy, you said that your first couple days in the broadcast booth. It sure looks a lot stranger up here than it looks when you're looking out that windshield.
I tell you, and then you see something happen on the racetrack, and also trying to watch the same thing that everybody at home's watching. It takes a little bit of time to get used to.
Yeah, it does.
Here's your Napa Field standing update brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Here's where everybody was running at 48 laps just a moment ago. Talked about Randy LaJoie. He has really come up through the field in a hurry. He's running 8th. He started 23rd.
You know, that's an incredible story, I think. Randy LaJoie, he kicked around Charlotte for the last 2 or 3 years. Just taking odd jobs, working at Thompson Stones, working in different people's shops, asking people to give him a chance, and nobody did, and he jumped in that race car, and he has been somebody to deal with every race.
He has. His dad was a great modified driver at the old Danbury Fairgrounds in Connecticut. And when you pick up an old copy of Illustrated Speedway News, you could always tell the shots from Danbury because there'd be 3 cars stacked one on top of another from each one of those wrecks they'd have on that little short track. Here's a look at Randy. His dad was a great one, and he had that 2nd place finish at Talladega that you saw here on TNN, and his dad was the first guy to come run and congratulate him. Dick Moroso's put a lot of faith in this young driver. And buddy, you've worked with him as teammates down at Daytona and in winter testing, and he'll be strong.
What we're doing, we're trying to get a little baseline, you know, so when he does come full-time Winston Cup next year, and I tell you, he's going to be a star of the future. He has some baseline to start with, and quite frankly, he's doing a better job than I am, so I don't know what kind of baseline I'm going to put out there for him.
Right behind LaJoie comes this battle. Mike Wallace fighting along with Phil Parsons in the number 29, the Tracy Lawrence Enterprises Oldsmobile. Cliff Champion turning the wrenches for Phil Parsons, and that 0 is Mike Garvey in the Ned Laware Motorsports number 0 out of Atlanta, a Pontiac. 9th, 10th, and 11th, and Chad Little closing in the Bayer Select 4, the Mark Rippon car at the top of your screen. 10th place they're fighting for. Here comes Parsons up the outside. Gonna make it work.
Like you said, racing all around the track.
Yeah.
Where else would they race?
I didn't say that.
You know,
I wouldn't say that.
I think Robert's slowing down a little bit more than now than he. I think something's happening to him. He's gotten real loose, or the chassis gone away, or something. Because Harry's caught him,
and here we see Mike Wallace, who's on Goodyear, kind of drifting back a bit. He made a couple of pit stops for adjustments, but this whole pack is going to move past the Barrio and FDP brakes Chevy.
Well, as both of you guys know, the longer you make a green flag run, the more a chassis problem becomes a problem. I mean, you can restart and you can keep up for 5 or 10, 15 laps, and all of a sudden the chassis goes away and you're back in trouble again.
Yeah. I think that's what happened to Robert.
Unscheduled pit stop for Ricky Craven for right side tires. Here's a look at where Phil Parsons has come. Started 32nd, and he's up to 9th.
Well, that's a good run. You know, the 2 car just hadn't been up to speed all day. He started way back, and he had trouble. He's had trouble all day. Just hadn't been able to get it going today.
Let's go up to 2nd place.
Boy, there's no rest for the weary there. You see Harry Gant coming up on the back of Robert Presley, and right behind him is Kenny Wallace, and this thing is really tightening up now.
Now, talk about proteges. Robert Presley, it's all been announced, will replace Harry Gant next year in the Skoll car of Leo Jackson on the Winston Cup circuit.
Yeah. So obviously Robert will just get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
You know, Kenny Wallace is on a mission, too. He didn't have a great year in Winston Cup last year, and he's going to show people that he can drive a race car, and we all know it, but he's showcasing his abilities right now.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to see him doing well in that car. That car is from Nashville, and those are a bunch of good guys, and I'm glad to see Kenny get it going good.
Now, that black number 8 car in the bottom lane was the Baby Ruth car last year with Jeff Burton aboard. Burton went to Winston Cup. Phil Martossi thought they would go to Winston Cup racing together. So he picked up Kenny Wallace. He said, let's have a good season here and let's go Winston Cup in '95. That's their plan.
Well, it's a good team, and they have won races. Bobby Hamilton started with that team, and of course Bobby replaced Kenny in Felix's car. So small world.
You see Rodney Combs back in there.
Yeah, he's back out on the speedway after an unscheduled stop earlier. 60 laps are complete. Mark Martin leading by 1.8 seconds. We'll be back. They're attending to Shauna Robinson's car. Something let go as she went into turn number 1. There she's walking around the car, and she is okay. There you see skid marks up to the wall in turn number 1. And pit stops will be the order of the day for most of the drivers on the lead lap. Here's Randy.
Heck of a run going for Randy LaJoie, folks. He started 23rd, and now he's all the way up to 6th. They're going to change 4 tires on the Dick Moroso machine. If you remember last week at Daytona, had an excellent run, blew an engine. Pretty quick pit stop so far. A little trouble in the rear. Randy's down and away.
Most of the leaders are on pit road. Remember, some will pit on the backstretch from the roof cam. There's Mark Martin's crew finishing up, and Kenny Wallace kind of blocking the exit there. And they pull away. Randy LaJoie gets past them as they go down pit lane. Picks up a couple of spots. We're at lap 65. Robert Presley had made a green flag stop, 4 tires, and was putting 2 on just as the caution flag came out, so he scooted out. And here's a look at the backstretch pits as Richard Lassiter pulls in. Dennis Setzer is there. Chad Little, quite a group of cars.
You know, normally they do 2 tires per caution, but everybody's changing 4 today. They must have made some sort of an adjustment on the tire rule change today.
I think we were told they were allowed 2 tires per position for the race and a choice of when to put them on. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett. He can update us.
Well, guys, when Presley pitted, it was right before Shauna had her accident, so he was pitting under green. He was going to change all 4 tires. They only changed the right sides. He's back in now changing left sides, but he did go a lap down. I'm going to look at the tires here and give you a report to see how worn they are. Mark Martin came in and changed 4 tires, as did Kenny Wallace and Johnny Benson Jr. So I'm like you, Darrell. I'm going to find out if they change that tire rule. We'll find out that in just a moment. Let you know. Also, the condition of Robert Presley's tires.
There's a look at Presley's car.
Yeah, I think in their panic, I think he's glad he got to come back in, because when that caution came out, I think they must have left the pit with some lug nuts loose, because they come around to the right side and tighten them all up. So that's probably a blessing in disguise for Robert.
So Presley gets back into it. Here's what happened to Shauna Robinson. Howie.
Ooh.
Man.
Ooh.
Did you see the right front wheel on that car wobbling? When you hit it hard enough to break that ball joint like that, you have hit a ton.
Yeah, well, you know, you're doing 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour head down in that first turn.
That's like they say, hit the wall very easy. There is no such thing as that.
Just brushed it.
So we're under caution for the 3rd time today at Rockingham. Here's the leaderboard. We'll be right back. Assisting with our aerial coverage today are the folks from DuPont Automotive Finishes, the official finish of NASCAR, giving you these helicopter-mounted views of Rockingham.
Wow.
Well, I didn't think it was T-shirt weather, but then again,
I don't know. You never know about this kind of the race fans. You never know about
that. Now that looks a little more like it.
Wrapped up in a towel.
Well, he may be cold there, but he's having a good time. We're under caution at lap 68. Might get one to go this time if cleanup is complete out there on the back straightaway. And they will. Harry Gant, the leader after pit stops. Terry Labonte in 2nd. That's Randy LaJoie, the blue car, in 3rd. Kenny Wallace is 4th. Mark Martin is 5th. Johnny Benson, Hermie Sadler, Tom Peck, Chad Little, and in the 10th spot, Ronald Cooper. In number 56, Phil Parsons is 11th. Running 12th is Mike Wallace.
Darrell.
Yeah.
How are you doing, man? We heard you've been sick all week.
Well, I was in the got home from Daytona, went straight to the hospital, stayed in there 3.5 days. Got out Thursday at noon, and I'm doing okay now. I'm just weak from all the antibiotics. I had a kidney infection, and I think I'm going to be okay. I hope I am anyway.
Let's check with Randy Pemberton.
If I can make it through this
Shauna Robinson's walked out of the infield care center. Shauna, I know you're disappointed, but are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's just, you know, it's just frustrating that I just made it a short day and was just being a little too aggressive getting back through the field, and he moved up a little bit on me, but you know, I probably should have just been a little more patient. Made it a long day.
Nothing broke?
No, nothing's broke except my heart. We'll be at Richmond in full force, so the Polaroid car will definitely be up front.
Shauna Robinson, okay.
Yeah, I tell you, I know how she feels. She wants to do good, and it's just really frustrating when you have a bad day.
Lapped cars line up on the outside as we go back to green. And the green car taking the green flag is Harry Gant. Terry Labonte's that white car in the bottom groove in second. Randy LaJoy, the blue number 20, in third. They peel off from the pack and kind of leave everybody else back a ways.
Is that Presley they're going around?
Yes, up on the high side.
Yeah.
1 lap down. Robert Presley will drop to the leaders. There he drops in line, and 4th in line, a lap down.
What he probably did, he knows he's a lap down, and rather than get in there and cause problem for the front leaders, he probably just let them go by.
Yeah, he probably did. Maybe it takes a lap or two for him to get going. I don't know, but you know, the big loser in that pit stop deal was Mark Martin. He came in leading, and
he's 5th.
Where is he now?
5th place behind Kenny Wallace. Big knot of traffic here. Mike Wallace, these cars stacked up a bit coming out of turn number 2. And they'll get 3 wide. Mike Garvey, the 0 car, comes to pit road. Something broke on his machine.
Yeah, I saw a big puff of smoke come out of it up in 3 and 4, so I think he broke the motor.
Back straightaway. Tracy Leslie in 72. Hermie Sadler alongside. And up front, the battle is enjoined for the lead, and it's a good one.
Well, we got us a race now, folks.
Turn 1, there they are. Randy LaJoy underneath Harry Gant.
Well, I tell you, he's opportunist. You see him just move right up under in a minute. The 7 car went a little bit high. Here come Randy.
And Terry Labonte to the lead. What impressed me about LaJoy at Daytona, there were 8 cars in much of that lead draft in the Goodies 300, and only 1 Busch regular among all those Winston Cuppers. Randy LaJoy with Dyson positions with him and went from 7th to the front, was leading when the car broke.
Let me tell you, when you work like he has to get where he's at, it's trying to take a bone away from a bulldog. He don't want to give up anything. He's going to try his heart out.
To turn 3, there's the separation.
Well, he is in hot pursuit right now, young man. I can tell you that.
There he goes. I guarantee you, he don't waste much time.
No, that's a fast car, and he is an aggressive driver. And I hope he takes his time here and gets to the front.
Let's go to his pit. Here's Glenn.
Well, right here is one of the men that's responsible for Randy's good run. Bob, that car looks awfully strong.
We've been doing a good job. We've been, you know, good and consistent here from the start. Start toward the back this morning. See if we can make up for it this afternoon. See if we can hang in there.
You also made up some time. You had a great pit stop.
The guys have been good right along, and just it's hard, you know, when you don't run in the front, it don't show up sometimes. But they've been a good. Most of the guys have worked for me for 4 or 5 years, and some of them have. But it's a real strong pit team. It really is.
Well, Bob Johnson and Randy LaJoy have been friends and partners for a long time in racing, and they're back together now, and they're on their way to the front.
Bob Johnson used to be the crew chief on a car that Randy's father drove up at Stafford Motor Speedway in the 1970s. Report on the 0, Mike Garvey, broken brake calipers put him behind the wall.
Darrell, you don't have to wonder where Mark Martin's at now. He's moving up as Randy LaJoy. He's putting a bumper to
whoop. Oh, Labonte. And Labonte right back to him. How do they save it?
I don't know.
You know, I saw him do that at Darlington, down there coming off turn 4 at Darlington. He did that a couple of times and saved the car. And I don't know. I can't explain things like it.
I tell you what, that was 2 good race car drivers that made the best of a bad situation there.
That's just an ability I never had right there. It's fun to watch, though, I got to tell you.
You're riding with Mark Martin. Now that's 99 Presley right in front of him, getting a little loose. Let's see this again.
Oh, this is just.
It's just a little casual contact right there.
Yep.
Now Terry comes back in. Right there, he could have turned him around if he had been really mad, but he didn't do her.
Well, no, he couldn't right then, because right then he was just saying, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't crash."
Yeah.
Now he's telling his crew he wishes he had turned him around. If I'd have known he was going to do that, but he's just glad he didn't crash.
Ricky Craven went back to pit road another time. Tough break for the main driver. He is now 3 laps down.
Did they get Roberts' water bottle in there on that caution?
Yeah.
He seemed like he's running a little bit better.
Johnny Benson Jr. in the Staff America car up on the outside of Phil Parsons in number 29. Tracy Lawrence, the country singers, sponsoring Phil Parsons' ride. Hermie Sadler, the Virginia's for Lovers Chevy's in there, number 25. Mike Wallace in the number 9.
See the difference between Randy LaJoie and Terry Labonte. Randy LaJoie, he took the lead. He just kept on going. He never checked up. Terry Labonte had to back off a little bit and get his breath and say, man, that could have hurt you.
Let me say something, though, in respect to both of them. Neither one of these guys would do that on purpose.
Oh, no,
you can touch somebody, and then all this other stuff is an aftermath of what happens.
Oh, yeah.
And that's important for folks at home to realize. You don't just drive up into somebody like that.
No.
The cars are on the edge of control to start with.
Oh, no, that's just hard racing, and it's just hard racing, and both guys did a great job of driving through it.
Good battle here. 6.5 seconds behind the leader, Hermie Sadler, trying to take the measure of Johnny Benson Jr. and Mike Wallace. Comes right through the open door on the bottom of the racetrack. They're back in turn 2. That group that we're following, 83 laps completed.
Yeah, Presley's all over the back of LaJoie now. Like he's trying to
get his lap back.
Yeah, he wants that lap back. I thought something might have happened to Randy the way Robert caught him, because he come off a 2 over there, and man, Robert just drove all over him.
Back to that battle we've been watching as Hermie Sadler is going to scoot away a bit from that group of cars now that he's taken 7th place.
You know, there's a young man that's just done a whale of a job. Hermie Sadler jumped in that race car last year, and he's just done a great job.
He was a surprise pick for that seat in the Don Beverly car, but won a race, won Rookie of the Year.
Well, Mike, as you well know, I had dinner with these guys last night with Mom and Dad and with Hermie, and I tell you what nice people.
Oh, they are. He's a super young man, businessman, and pretty sharp. Anytime you can get the state to give you money, I mean, I think you got to know something.
I've not figured out how to do that. Here comes your Napa Field Standing Update, brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. As we're up front with race leader Randy LaJoie, and trying to get a lap back is the 99 car of Robert Presley. That's all that separates LaJoie from Mark Martin. 3rd in your picture, 2nd in this race.
Yeah, I think what the deal is Mark Scarge is quicker and quicker the longer it runs, and these other boys kind of slow down a little bit.
A Mark's eye view of the 2 cars ahead.
Mark's having a pretty hard time getting by Presley. He's been up there 3 or 4 times down the front straightaway on the inside, and Presley just kind of checkmates him every time he gets up there.
Of course, if Mark gets past, there goes Presley's chance to get his lap back.
Yeah, I think he'd rather deal with Randy LaJoie than he had Mark Martin, so he's trying to stay right where he is.
Presley made a green flag pit stop for tires. The caution flag came out. He scooted back on the track, but still was caught 1 lap down. That happened while we were in break, just as Shauna Robinson's car went into the wall.
And you're talking about disheartening to have a car as good as Roberts is, and just bad timing, make a pit stop. Now you're a lap down. Now you're driving hard as you can go. You should be up there leading the race or running 2nd, and you're lap down. And that really, boy, that takes a lot of fight out of the driver.
Boy, he got that lap back just as we were talking there.
He sure did. He's determined right now.
They move past David Bonnet, and we'll go to break at 89 laps complete. We are coming up on halfway in the Goodwrench 200. Your leader, Randy LaJoie. We'll be right back to the North Carolina Motor Speedway after this.
Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 200 is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer, an easy drinking Busch Light.
Robert Presley.
Phil Parsons has let one go going down into turn number 1, and will be under caution. Got break with Tracy Lawrence car, and Parsons, out of Farmington Hills, Michigan originally, takes it straight to the garage. While we were away, Mark Martin put this move on Randy LaJoie, who was not going to give up the lead without a struggle.
Oh, no. I mean, this is good, hard side-by-side racing. Randy was getting in the corner good, but Mark was getting off a little better.
You see Kenny Wallace moving up there. He had a little scare going in the next corner.
Yeah.
He loses control going in the corner down there and almost got them both.
But the big winner here is, in this deal, I mean, Phil loses because he blew up. Robert Presley wins because he gets his lap back.
Good point. Presley is back on the lead lap. Mark Martin's your leader. Randy LaJoie
is second. Kenny Wallace is third. Fourth is Harry Gant, and fifth is Terry Labonte. Phil Parsons was running sixth at the time this happened.
Yeah, he was running a great race. That's a good race car. He's had some good runs in that car.
Parsons, one of the veterans of this series, but the all-time veteran is the man who started every race in this series, Tommy Houston. 360 consecutive starts, and that streak, as we learned last week in Daytona, may be in jeopardy. Glenn Jarrett. Glenn?
Well, you're looking at car number 6 here, driven by Tommy Houston, one of the most familiar cars on the Busch circuit. He started, I believe, 360 of these races in a row. Only guy to ever start them all, but I understand that may be coming to an end.
Yeah, unless we get some major sponsorship on this Busch Grand National Circuit and on our Ford here, we're not going to keep on racing. You know, matter of fact, I'm going to have to take a serious look about going to Richmond next weekend. And, you know, we had Luxair on the car this week. Those folks come across, and it was pretty nice. And car was running pretty good. We tore an engine up in last practice this morning, scrambled. Didn't get the clutch adjusted back exactly right, and the clutch just got slipping so bad. Didn't anything tear up or blow up, you know, but it's just going like that. And we were 9 laps down, and I just went ahead and parked the car.
I hope that's not the last time we see Tommy Houston. Mike?
No, I'm sure it won't be, Glenn. We are under caution here at the Rock. There's your leaderboard. We will be back after this.
TNN's exclusive coverage of the Goodwrench 200 is brought to you by Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more until you use it.
Back in the pits, Robert Presley, the pole sitter for this race. Just a little check of lug nuts there. Make sure everything's tightened up. Away he goes.
Yeah. It looked like that guy on the left rear got all done with what he's supposed to be doing there.
Not sure what that's all about. They had a, 4-tire change.
Okay, Mark Martin, Randy LaJoie, Harry Gant. What are we going to see on this restart?
Well, I know a couple of things. Mark's going to run well, but the 20 cars cool the tires off.
Yeah, and also his sheet metal's cooled down a little bit, so he ought to be able to go pretty good now. Man, the whole right side of that car looks like it's been just pressed all up against the roll cage and everything.
Now look at the right side of Randy LaJoie's car when he and Terry Labonte got together.
Wow.
See, that's why they put the sponsor logos way up high like that.
That's right.
Here's Randy.
Phil Parsons standing here. Phil, I hate to see you out. What happened?
Well, I think something happened to the engine. I'll tell you, this was the best car I've had in a long time. I think we were running 6. We started 32nd. We were running 6, and we were catching the leaders. I mean, 10 or 20 laps, we'd have passed them all and went on. This is the best car I've had in a long time. I can't thank my sponsors enough. Tracy Lawrence. Tracy, if you're watching, I know you're on tour somewhere. We appreciate it. We'll try to do it again. And Cliff, Mike, all the guys, they did a heck of a job. Carl Wagner motor was running. I mean, it was the best motor I've ever had. Something happened to it. Those things happen. But we'll be back at Atlanta, and we can't wait.
Good luck at Atlanta.
Thanks.
Getting set for the restart. This time by Mark Martin in front, Randy LaJoie in second. There's LaJoie's number 20, and here's where he's come through the field. And 1 to go before we go racing. In third, Harry Gant. There's that green Mannheim car just behind your 2 leaders and the first Chevy in the field. In fourth, another Ford, the number 8 car, that black number 8 is that of Kenny Wallace. In fifth, the number 14, the MW Windows car, Terry Labonte. Mike Wallace is up there. He's the 6th place car, the MPP Brakes number 9 Chevy.
I don't recall those front cars being in the pits. Have they been in the pit one time?
At least. I think back about the caution of lap 63, everybody was in.
So they should have quite a few tires left down there to put on later on in the race, I think. I think Kenny Wallace will run. I think he'll pick up the pace when he makes a pit stop and makes a little chassis adjustment.
Yeah,
that car's fast.
He got to tighten that thing up a little bit.
Yeah.
It comes off the corner good, but going in the corner underneath another car, it just turns sideways on it.
Getting set for the restart, Johnny Benson back in the 7th position. Jason Keller is 8th. Tom Peck is 9th. Ronald Cooper is 10th. Joe Bessie in the 11th position. Bobby Dotter is 12th. 13th is Stevie Reeves, having a good run here. Morgan Shepherd is 14th. 15th is Elton Sawyer. 16th is Hermie Sadler. 17th position would be Jim Bound. And 18th, Dennis Setzer. 19th is Chad Little. And 20th, Robert Presley. Those 20 cars are on the lead lap as we go back to green.
They're coming up to speed. Old Mark, he gets him a good jump every time.
I think that's for all those ASA races he run. I mean, how you start off a lot of times means whether you're going to win or lose.
Oh, yeah, they're short races. car length lead there on just on a restart.
Front 4 cars fan out a couple of car lengths apart. Front 5 make that with Labonte.
I'll tell you a guy that's wasting no time, excuse me, Mike, is Robert Presley. He is coming from the back to the front in a hurry. He's hammered down.
Mike Wallace gets under Mike McLaughlin, who is a lap down. There's Morgan Shepherd, and Presley goes right around Shepherd in the 3rd groove up on the outside and drops to the bottom of the racetrack past Tim Fedewa and now Joe Bessie. He is in a hurry.
Oh, yeah, he's got it going. He's fast, and he knows he's fast, and he wants to get through that traffic.
Presley on new tires, pulls up, checks up on Tracy Leslie, tries to squeeze in between and can't do it.
That was a smart move on his part to stop that progress right there.
Oh, yeah.
He still wants a 3rd lane up there.
Well, he's going to get him a little jump off that corner. That car is really flying right now. Of course, he's the only guy on new tires, and that makes a whale of a difference. Look at him get in that corner.
Past Tracy Leslie now. And he's up to 10th place.
Yeah.
Took the restart 20th, lap and a half, and he's 10th.
Yeah. That's one of the things about sitting up here watching. This is kind of fun to watch that. I would probably notice that if I was down in the garage area working on a race car.
It would be more fun to watch if that was your car and you were in it.
Ooh. I think that's a good point.
Harry Gant and Kenny Wallace. Terry Labonte looking in.
Now he can pass Harry Gant because Harry's going a little bit higher in the corner than the rest of them, and he's not right down against the 8 car. He can make the pass on him without any trouble. Cars that are hugging him tight, though, he can't do that.
You know, there's got to be something wrong with Harry's car because he hadn't been up next to the wall all day long.
As you speak, he goes.
Harry, he's got to get up there sooner or later. I mean, Harry Gant does not run Rockingham without rubbing the paint off the wall.
You know, they measure this track 15 feet in from the outside wall. So Harry's probably the only guy that runs the whole 500 miles. The other guys run down to the bottom, run about 485 or so. I'm getting like that paint job too. I'm going to adjust my set.
Yeah,
I'm worried
I feel
about
a
that
little
color.
strange about myself when I start liking things like that.
And look right behind him. Here's Johnny Benson underneath Mike Wallace. 6th place here.
Now Johnny Benson is driving like the Johnny Benson that runs on the ASA circuit. He won a lot of races in the championship over there last year, and he's been in that car a couple of times and others, and this is the first time I've really seen him really use his talent.
Mike Wallace having a good run, and 57, the white car in that pack, is Jason Keller out of Greenville, 23-year-old, a rookie last year. This is the best I've seen him run in the Busch Series.
Yeah.
Robert Presley's up to 9th, by the way. He's going to come right into this picture there.
That is what we would call Rapid Robert right now.
Yeah, that'll look real impressive till he gets up about 3rd place, and all of a sudden it'll look like he hit a rock.
Yeah. Moving up on Jason Keller. 99 Presley started on the pole. He and Bill Papke will run the season together with this car. They are looking for a sponsor, and that's an up-front team.
You know, Darrell, though, you hit on something real important. He's on brand new tires, and most of these cars are on tires that have almost 100 laps on them. So most of the guys are going away quite a bit, and he's going to look like Superman until he gets those tires hot.
Yeah, but you know, the other thing, buddy, is I noticed since they've been in and out of the pits, changing tires, I have not seen them make a chassis adjustment. They haven't put any bite in the car to really tighten it up. So if he had a loose condition like they were reporting earlier, it's not bothering him. They mainly just change tires.
I've never seen anybody run Hickory a bunch that worried about how the car handles that much.
Yeah, you got to be loose there.
7th place now for Presley.
Doesn't hurt the car is too.
He's up to 7th, and he is 4.5 seconds behind the race leader. Now moves up on Johnny Benson.
You know, I look at that car, Johnny Benson's, and that paint job would have brought a lot of attention several years back, but now it's just kind of ordinary. The 99 car is one that looks out of place with a standard paint job.
You know, back a few years ago, buddy, these cars, they were individually owned and individually operated, if you will, and you kind of painted them black or white or blue or red, and that's the way everybody had about the same color race cars. Now they have graphics on them that you can tell some professional agency has designed most of these race cars for real appeal, and that's because of the involvement of all the big league sponsors in this series now.
Yeah, some of these teams have color consultants. They'll paint a car, put it on a track, put TV cameras on it, and see how it looks.
Yeah, and if you don't think, if you can see all those big haulers over where the Busch cars are parked, They're exactly like Winston Cup haulers. So this series has really stepped it up from a professional level.
And next year, they're going to look a lot more like Winston Cup cars because some of these machines will have V8 power plants, 9-to-1 V8s.
That's going to be a real plus. A lot of things are going to happen because of that. If the cars ever get back like they were a few years ago, where the Winston Cup cars and the Busch cars are similar, that gives the Winston Cup car owners a place to sell cars, sell engines, and it also makes the market a little more flexible for these guys because there's a lot of those parts around.
So 9-to-1 V8s and V6s will run together in 1995, and at the end of the 95 season, this series will go back to V8s only.
Yeah, I like that decision. I think it's the right thing to do.
Here's a look at Kenny Wallace. He's the third-place car behind Mark Martin and Randy LaJoie. We asked Kenny what he learned from the tough season in Winston Cup last year.
Well, my Winston Cup year last year, it made me tougher, made me have, I guess, more championship character, you know, and nobody knows when it's really bad until it gets bad. And when it gets bad, that's when you got to dig down a little bit deeper and pull it out.
Completed Rockingham, as our aerial photos are provided by DuPont Automotive Finishes. Today's high-performance cars need high-performance DuPont paint systems. A couple of them out there could use a little bit of paint system right now. Here's your fifth-place battle. Harry Gant and Terry Labonte have been fighting fifth place back and forth.
Presley just worked his way right by those guys, and he is still Robert impressive, if you ask me, because he's coming to the front. And not only that, if they're in another caution, I believe he's got this thing going his way.
Now, just in front of this battle of Harry Gant and Terry Labonte by about 20 car lengths, here they are. There's Kenny Wallace, number 8, Randy LaJoie, number 20, and his mirror is all filled up with Robert Presley.
Not for long.
No, that's pretty much gone. He had to back out there for a slower car.
Yeah. Ken Wallace was the pick there. Presley's going to try the bottom again. Boy, that car sticks.
It really looks stable now. And then I think the thing that impressed me was the fact that they did not make any chassis adjustments. So they're really just working with tires. And he's done an incredible job coming from 20th a few laps ago up to third place now.
And folks, you've seen a good display of being, you used to call it aggressive smooth, but aggressive patient, especially on Presley's part.
Yeah, he used incredibly good judgment all the way up through there. He had to pass lap cars. He also had to pass very fast race cars, and he's done it. And he's closing in on the second place car, and it won't be long till he will be closing in on Mr. Mark Martin.
He's 3 seconds behind the leader.
Well, I'll be very interested when everybody goes on fresh tires if they have another caution and just see exactly where he's at.
Here's your Napa Field standing update. Brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Show you where your favorite driver's running at 120 laps.
Yeah, I think you're right, buddy. I think that he's going to look equally as bad if he doesn't have another set of tires to put on, and I'm not sure what the count is. So right now, the best thing I think he could hope for is no more cautions, because he has tires fresher than anyone else, and the rest of the guys are probably hoping that there's going to be at least one more so they can use that last set.
Working over Kenny Wallace.
Kenny's doing the best thing you can do right now with somebody that's on fresher tires and make yourself pretty wide where they can't just drive well. As I speak, he goes right by with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, well, that could be a smart move on Kenny's part, not wanting to use up his race car.
Yeah, Kenny's doing the right thing. They're calling Kenny on the radio. They're telling him where Mark is, what the interval is, and they probably told him to pick it up because he did pick up the pace a little bit and see if he could catch Mark. I believe Mark's on cruise control right now, and it's just going to whatever it takes to stay out front.
Let's check on pit road. Here's Randy.
Well, guys, David Bonnet has a little bit of a problem, and Darrell can relate to this. He's out there with a helmet, and he does not have a shoulder strap. Now, granted, at places like Bristol, where the backs are very high, you guys have to run with a shoulder strap. His neck is extremely tired. He's fallen off a 1.5, almost 2 seconds a lap right now, and he's very concerned. His crew's down here talking. They're going to have to bring him in, possibly under green. They have brought in a neck brace over for him that he can put it on. He simply cannot hold his head up right now.
Well, to tell you the truth, this is part of the tire war. These cars are sticking so much better than they did maybe here last fall or last year that it's going to put more stress and strain on the driver, and that's what's happened to David.
He's probably going to have to come in and do something because he's all over the racetrack at the moment, and I tell you what it does. It makes your head fall over, and that changes your vision on the racetrack, so it really messes you up pretty bad.
Yeah, just your own tilts, actually.
Right.
Now, not the shoulder harness, folks. We're talking about a strap that hooks to the helmet and goes underneath your left armpit and back up to the helmet, so your neck doesn't fall over on your right shoulder from the G-forces.
Well, I use the Butler seat, and I use a seat that's got a headrest on it. And I'd have a body cast if I could use it in some places.
You're right, buddy.
Yeah, Brian Butler now builds a headrest that goes to the side of your head. Not just the one in back that you have to have, but one on the side as well.
Yeah. Well, it helps hold your head up during the race, and also if you're in a crash, it allows you some protection. And my boy Robert Presley has closed right up on the back of Mark Martin here in the next just little wee bit.
We'll see if he's cruising around with
well,
the top
he's
down.
on cruise with everybody but Robert, and he knows he can't do nothing with Robert. Robert's in a class by himself right now, only because he has 4 fresh tires and the other, or fresher tires than the other guys do.
That's it.
0.8 of a second from first to second place. And here is David Bonnet along pit road. Randy's there.
Scott Mims is crew chief, waiting for David to stop here. He just radioed him, and he is extremely tired, as we just attested to. They've got a neck brace for him. A guy just has now passed it to him in the car. He straps it around his neck underneath the helmet. They're going to go ahead and change right side tires while they're in. Of course, David Bonnet has not been in too many Grand National races, and certainly not many here at the Rock. This may be number 2 for him, if not number 1. They're going to go ahead and maybe change all 4 now. But Bonnet certainly 2 laps down at the point in time.
Randy, is there anybody available for relief?
We have not heard that they're going to ask anyone for relief. Of course, you know how the Bonnets are. You know, Neil Bonnet never wanted to get out of a race car either, and I don't expect David to either. They've got the thing underneath his helmet now. He's going to go back there and ride it out.
Thanks, Randy. Here's your fight for the lead. Robert Presley came up and put a little horn on Mark Martin.
As they call that, Darrell, he presented the nose of the car where he could see it almost.
Yeah, that's right.
You can hear him and see him now.
He just wanted Mark to look in his rearview mirror and know that he had arrived.
Yep, Mark could hear the footsteps and feel them behind him.
I don't know what his crew's telling. I don't know what your crew's telling you on the radio, but
Ooh,
I have arrived.
Man, that was impressive. He just drove right by.
See, here's the deal. Robert's on fresher tires. Now, Mark's he's in a box now. Does he stay out there? Does he pit under green? Because he hadn't been in a pit in a long, long time.
Well, given the history of this race, you got to think there's going to be one more caution, but maybe not. Here's Glenn.
Well, the concern down here, Robert Presley's pits, guys, is that he's using the tires up too quickly. They want him to slow down a little bit. It's a unique situation. He has 2 crew chiefs, Darrell Bryant and Todd Barrier. They also have a Hoosier tire engineer down here, and they're all trying to get Robert to slow down a little bit to save his tires. So they're worried about using those tires up. He pitted a while ago when he made that first pit stop under green after 63 laps. There's about that many laps left to go in the race, and he's got about 20, 25 laps on these tires now. So at the pace he's going, they will not last.
Yeah, they want him to slow down now. They didn't want to slow down about 3 or 4 laps ago, but now that he's taking the lead and is steadily pulling away, they're telling him to slow down.
The interval right now is almost to half a straightaway in just 4 or 5 laps, so he can cruise a little bit now.
Yeah, that's what he ought to do. He ought to just keep Mark in sight.
Yeah, buddy, what would happen when somebody called tell you to slow down?
Well, I never was the smartest guy in one of those things to begin with, so I would probably run out of tires with 10 or 15 laps to go and have to stop.
Oh, yeah, you're calling them right now saying, yeah, but it's working so good. I'm not abusing anything, really. I'm taking care of the tires. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing.
So out in front once again is Robert Presley. He's one of 6 different leaders. He owns a lead of 2 seconds over Mark Martin. There have been 7 lead changes among 6 drivers.
Plus, the thing about it is he came from a lap down. Now, he didn't just, you know, he hadn't been there racing all day and all of a sudden took the lead. He came from a lap down, got it back, and now he's leading the race again. So that's a fast automobile.
See Dennis Setzer there.
Yep. So the familiar cars, new faces. Dennis Setzer's in 59 this year. Tom Peck is in the 31 that Busch champion Steve Grissom got out of to go Winston Cup racing. And there is the 56 of Ronald Cooper, the Johnny Cotton car.
Right. Grissom still owned the 31 car, so it's a family deal there. I think Tom Peck's very lucky to get in a quality race car like that also.
I do too, but I might just point out that Kenny Wallace is gradually reeling in Mark Martin too.
And here Terry Labonte and Harry Gant keep going at it.
It looked like something broke on Harry's car, folks, but that's just a normal groove for him here at Rockingham. He runs a little higher than everybody else in the corner.
Oh, yeah, he's got her up there in the Harry Gant groove now.
You knew he'd get there, just be a matter of when.
Yeah, it took him a lot longer than normal.
They are 8 seconds behind the race leader, Robert Presley, right now. And Labonte has tracked Gant for about the last 25 laps and now finds his way past him.
The 8 car continues to close in just a little wee bit on the 60 car, so I think we're going to have a race for second place here for long.
Let's show you folks at home in a second here as well. Gary, Harry's going right back at it. Show you the interval among the leaders in this race as they come down the front straightaway. Up in the front, Robert Presley. And here's a look at Presley as he goes down the backstretch. Now his lead over Mark Martin is going to be 3.4 seconds. To give you an idea of what that interval looks like to the folks here in the stands and those following from pit road as Presley laps past Hermie Sadler.
I've been in situations like that where the crew says, okay, slow down, man. And you start slowing down and actually get faster. So
yeah,
the car gets a little better bike getting in the corner and all and gets faster. And the crew's getting madder at you the whole time.
All right, there's your race leader. There is Presley as he goes off into turn 3. And now as he comes out of 4.
21 car, there's Morgan Shepherd. He got in that first little accident.
There goes Presley. Here's Mark Martin and Kenny Wallace, the 2nd and 3rd place cars. So it's just about the distance of a corner around the racetrack. Now behind him, here's the battle for 4th. Terry Labonte's on fire now. He has caught up to Randy LaJoie and gone past him. And there's High Groove Harry right behind LaJoie.
Yeah. Well, some of these guys' tires are just giving out and wearing out, and the other guys got a little bit left, and whoever's got the most tire left is the guy's going to go forward. The reason we talk about tires here, I know people get tired of hearing us talk about tires, but that's where, I mean, the rubber meets the road is what makes these things go around the racetrack. And so setup has an effect on the tires. Weather has an effect on the tires. It's probably a little warmer than it was when the race started. Track conditions, oil the track down, rubber buildup on the track. Things change and make the tires change.
I was watching the 34 car of Mike McLaughlin, and he's smoking quite a bit in the corners. I don't know what might be happening there, but I noticed smoke coming out of the back.
3rd, 4th, and 5th place for 4th, 5th, and 6th place battle. Pulling up now on Jim Bound in the Hubert Hensley car. New colors for the number 63 team this year. Lux Beans on that car. Now here's a look at Mike McLaughlin.
See the smoke right as he exited off number 2 corner there. There's a little bit of smoke out of the back. That could be anything from overflow to, well,
don't much see it going in.
No.
Here lapping Morgan Shepherd and Ken Wallace is the 99 of Robert Presley.
Yeah, I sure am glad he slowed down, because gosh, if he hadn't slowed down, no telling where he'd be right now. He's driving through these guys just left and right.
You don't often get a race car to work that good. And remember how loose he was at the start of the race.
Yeah, but see, there again, track conditions have probably changed a little bit. They've adjusted the tires somewhat, maybe air pressure and things, and he's good right now.
Look at Harry Gant. He don't ever give up, folks. He might have a car that's running all over the racetrack, but he'll try this car until he gets by one way or the other.
The Phenolube Ford of Randy LaJoie and the Mannheim auction number 7 of Harry Gant. Mark Martin's reporting a bad push on his Winn-Dixie Ford. He's in 2nd place. Check that. He's in 3rd place behind Presley and Kenny Wallace.
Boy, if it's pushing, it's not bad because he's staying right in the bottom of the racetrack. I imagine the sight of that 99 going away is making that thing feel like it's doing a lot more bad than it is.
Yeah, and as good as that car is, and as good as it always is, if it goes away just a little bit, I bet it feels terrible. Because you don't expect it. The car has just been that dominant so the last half of the year.
13 cars on the lead lap now here at Rockingham. That's Ken Wallace, the TGI Friday Chevy at 04. Mark Martin going past. And they may pit Mark Martin.
Well, that's kind of the box I think he's in.
It's been 90 laps, almost 90 laps, Darrell, since he's been on pit road.
He can come in. He's going to lose a lap and a half. He can get that back.
Here he comes. Mark Martin's on pit road right now.
Yeah. 3rd place car. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett in his pit.
Well, as you said, Mike, he's been reporting a bad push. We understand they're going to try to take 3 to 4 rounds of bite out of the car in addition to changing tires. Mark was extremely displeased with the way the car was working. They're pitted right beside of Kenny Wallace, and they're getting ready to come in also. They will wait until Martin is out, though. The car is up. They're putting the right side tires on now. You can see the guy going to the back to take the bite out of the car. There's 1, 2, 2.5, 3. Oh, he's really jacking that thing. Man, that's about 6, 8 rounds of wedge out, so that thing really had a push to it. The left side's up now to put the left side tires on, but that was a major chassis change. We should see some big difference in the way the car feels to Mark now when he gets down and out. A little bit slow on this tire change. That's unlike this crew.
29 seconds, Glenn, on that change, and right behind him, Johnny Benson Jr., the ASA champ, pits the 11th place car, the Staff America Chevy.
Darrell, you know something that really changed his deal around is a caution right now.
Yeah, and there's a car going slow down the back straightaway. I guess he'll make it to the pit lane, but he's going awful slow.
Is he coming out of the pits?
No, I don't think so, Mike.
Okay. We'll double check. Oh, that's the 57 car. Jason Keller was in the 7th position. He had a good run going, and you're right, Darrell. Something broke and he drifted down to the apron.
Yeah, I think he's coming around to come in the front pit here, but boy, Robert must be 4 laps ahead now.
Not quite.
I tell you, they slowed him down and he went 4 laps up.
Here's Keller, who's come to pit lane to a stop. The crew's going to lift the hood and see if there's anything they can do.
A few battle scars there on the right rear quarter panel.
Steve Addington, the crew chief, and looking for the big hole.
All right, there's Robert, and Mark's right behind him.
Trying to get now. Watch him with the new tires.
Yeah, here's your answer, folks.
Yeah.
That's what they were fighting just a little while ago. I don't know.
Ooh.
There wasn't any room there.
There was no pick.
No. No, Robert tried to set a pick with Roy Payne's car. Here's Randy. Harry Gant's on pit road.
Harry Gant has complained that the car is a little loose. We got that over the radio just a second ago. Right side tires already changed. This will be Harry's, hopefully, his last 4 tires stop. Not a problem so far. And I think, no, little problem on the right rear. Also,
Kenny Wallace is also
coming down pit road. Gant was running 6th before he came in. Dropped the jack, he's gone. Glenn Jarrett.
And Kenny Wallace has brought the TIC Financial Systems Court into the pits. They are changing right side. It's down now. They're on the left side. Good pit stop going so far. A good bit quicker than the one Mark Martin had. But they were pretty close in the racetrack, so you'll see just how much difference those pit stops make. Left side's up, putting those left side tires on. No chassis adjustment on this car. He likes the way it feels. He's down and away. That's a pretty good pit stop.
a lot of the leaders coming in. Glenn, Kenny Wallace going out. Terry Labonte is in. Also Chad Little getting a stop.
There's Robert Presley coming in the pits right now.
4 tires for Labonte. And let's go to Glenn.
Mike, I'm on my way there.
Going to put 4 tires on Robert's car as well. Terry Labonte's stop is complete. He is away, and you see them putting right sides on Robert Presley's car.
Guy on the right rear is having a terrible time.
Coming around, they're going to put 4 on it. That's going to be timely.
Yeah.
Mike, this brings everything back to normal again. Everybody's on fresh tires, and it ought to be a good race from here out. Except for Robert Presley, he's having a terrible time. This is a long stop.
The difference here is here comes Mark off of turn 4. Now, does that put Mark back in the lead?
Yes, because he passed 99 to get in the lead lap. What a long stop. 48 seconds for Robert Presley. I said Chad Little was in the pits. I was incorrect. It was the Johnny Cotton car of Ronald Cooper who made a stop. Joe Bessie's been in, and Dennis Setzer is leading as Randy LaJoie comes off pit road after his stop. Dennis Setzer is the front runner at 159 laps.
Yeah.
And we'll be back to the North Carolina Motor Speedway and sort out the scoring after green flag pit stops and these messages.
He lost on.
Coverage of the Goodwrench 200 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Dennis Setzer has not made a pit stop. He is the leader at 165 laps, 32 to go here at Rockingham. Okay, he's making a pit stop. He's no longer the leader. As we came back to break, he was in first place. That'll move Elton Sawyer up to the top of the leaderboard. Sawyer gets a pit stop. That will move Morgan Shepherd to first place. Shepherd gets a pit stop. That puts Hermie Sadler up on top, and then Mark Martin. Setzer completes his run. comes back out. And indeed, those other cars have pitted. So this is your leader, the Virginia's for Lovers Chevy of Hermie Sadler.
But not for long.
Knock, knock. Hello. Come in. Goodbye.
Oh, here we got a caution.
Uh-oh, there's a caution.
Car in the fence at
Joe
turn
Bessie.
3.
Joe
Oh.
Bessie.
Now he's going to keep the thing going straight. Here comes Kenny Wallace trying to race back to the line, but
got him.
he's got nobody to battle back to the line. He just wanted to get through there before anything else happened. Look at the right front on Bessie's car. 3 abreast there, coming back to the stripe. Morgan Shepherd along with Harry Gant, Terry Labonte. Used that one up pretty good. Let's see what happened, Darrell.
Yeah, he hit the wall.
Darrell, thank you for that in-depth analysis. He was in 10th place at the time.
I didn't get to see enough of it to really know what happened, but a car got up under him and got into him and knocked him up in the wall.
He's trying to turn in there.
And he ain't a happy camper.
Oh. Everybody will come in and make pit stops, and we'll be back to the North Carolina Motor Speedway after this. 30 laps to go. Officially, we're showing 8 cars on the lead lap here. Here are the first 5 of them. Add Harry Gant, Hermie Sadler, and Kenny Wallace to that list. Now, Randy LaJoy, who is lined up for 5th on the restart, was too fast coming down pit lane. He will go to the back of the line.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting little display to watch as he works his way back to the front. Because I'm telling you, he is exciting to watch.
Pit road speed today is 45 miles an hour.
And that's not, you know, when you're out there running 150, 60, that's not very fast.
Let's look again, see if we can see what happened way up ahead. Mark.
A little contact getting in the wall there. That's why you seen him go into pit road there a little mad.
Yeah.
Not sure who that other car was.
It was a yellow car.
Yellow car.
Yeah. And I think it could, well, I better not say, because it could have been either one of about 3 cars. I don't know who they are, but their names are Ronald Cooper and Chad Little. But it was one of those.
In the 08 car.
Bobby Donner. Right.
Yep. We've narrowed it down.
And the Lux Beans car, Jim Bound. So could have been most anybody.
Look at this, folks. Looks like a traffic jam in California on Saturday morning.
Woo.
Left rear axle problem on 27 Roy Payne.
They're hitting under the...
Man, they hit Mark.
Geez, Setzer was trying to get in line in front of Jim Bound, and Stevie Reeves in 96 there got into the back of Jim Bound's number 63.
And knocked him into Mark.
8 cars on the lead lap. They're lined up on the inside row. Here we come. 24 laps to go. What a struggle there. And Martin is not coming up to speed. He's in trouble.
He's in trouble. I think he got in his left rear tire when that car had come down the track.
Yeah, he's in big trouble.
In his right rear tire.
See Randy going by. Randy LaJoy.
Mark Martin will have to pit. Meanwhile, Terry Labonte is the race leader.
Yeah, Mark took a pretty hard lick in the right rear there when that car shot down the racetrack there on him. I'd say he knocked the tire down, or maybe just knocked the toe wheel. Black marks all down the side of the car.
You know, for as strong as a race car is, they're very fragile. You can't beat around on them. And just that lick you seen there probably put him out of the race.
Johnny Benson is off the pace over here in the apron in turn 3.
3rd place car, Johnny Benson Jr. Brings the Staff America Chevy to pit road, and 2 of your 8 cars on the lead lap are in trouble.
Good part is Mark's back out into the race, but his chances of winning are pretty much gone now.
Yeah, he changed 1 tire.
And it was the right rear. Harry Gant on the move. He's got Kenny Wallace with him, but they've got to catch these guys to do it. Terry Labonte in 14, the MW Windows Chevy. And 99, the Bill Papke Racing Chevy of Robert Presley.
Why do I have a feeling there's going to be something on that quarter panel before very long?
A decal or somebody else's paint?
Somebody else will be paying the bills on this.
Well, that's a good race team. I mean, Robert Presley is a great race car driver, and if he's going to run this series, which I don't think so, I don't know if anybody knew he was or not, he'll have a sponsor.
Let's go to Randy Pemberton and Mark Martin's pit.
Steve Meal, I see the cut tire. What happened?
I don't know. We told him it was one to go the next time. We've been trying to beat that other tire bunch all day. You know, we were in real good shape. We're right where we wanted to be. And went up the backstretch. He said we just got wrecked. I need a right front. So I guess probably wiggling or something back there. You know, I believe in Busch racing, slow cars come on the outside. We're not used to that. Maybe turn right to wiggle the tires. He either hit somebody or somebody but he hit him, but it wasn't our day.
Tough break for Mark Martin. Here's Kenny Wallace and Hermie Sadler trying to follow Harry Gant to the front.
You know, this is kind of interesting. Terry Labonte is kind of driving off and leaving Robert here, and I find that surprising. Terry's run well all day, but he hadn't seemed to have the car to be able to run, to pull off and drive off from Robert the way he is right now.
And Gant sits third.
You know, you're talking about Harry Gant. They were talking about what a handling problem he's having. He seems to have worked it out. He's back on the bottom of the racetrack, and he's running real fast times around here.
I think Kenny Wallace, though, is running him down.
Yeah, Kenny's got a fast car. Maybe Robert is just now remembering that they told him to slow down. And so in just a little bit they'll tell him to speed back up and he'll go on.
Don't think so.
not with 18 laps to go.
No.
There's Kenny Wallace. He is the 4th place car. Let's get an update on Johnny Benson's problem. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, they haven't figured out what the problem is. It's got them all scratching their heads. Johnny radioed in, the car just shut off. He could not get it to turn over. They still haven't been able to. Steve Bird, you can see him there under the hood working with it. I don't know if it's an electrical problem or what, but they're mystified right now. We'll give them a little time, see if they can find out what it is, and we'll let you know.
Boy, Harry Gant is hooked up right now. He's pulling down on Robert Presley right now, and the car is right on the bottom of the racetrack. That's not typical of Harry, but I know he's pleased.
Yeah, he is. He's closing in quickly on Robert, and I believe Terry's pulling away from Robert just a little bit. Robert's car is just not quite as quick as it was earlier. Well, Robert may have had to put used tires back on his car. I don't know what the rules are as far as how many tires they could use today.
Harry's told us many times he doesn't go run the high groove because he wants to. He goes and runs where the car will run. He'd just as soon it be on the bottom. Now it is.
Yeah, but you can hardly ever believe what Harry tells you. That's the problem.
Look at this pack. Mike Wallace, these cars, most of them are a lap down. Mike Wallace in 9th in car number 9. There's Tom Peck in the 31. Right part of this group.
Randy
Bobby Dotter
on the inside there, right up under Dennis Sutzer.
Yep. Bobby Dotter in 08.
You know, a guy we haven't talked about all day long, and I don't know where he's running right now. 38 car, Elton Sawyer. He's holding his own pretty well right there now.
He's in the top 10. All of these cars except LaJoy in the 20 are 1 lap down and racing for position from 7th place on back. Good battle.
Yeah.
Randy's showing a lot of cool right now, though. He's not just diving in there. Look at this. Look at this, I'm telling you. Here comes Harry. Oh, Robert Presley just took a hard shot to the outside wall there.
You know, I don't think Robert expected Harry to go by him like that, and it kind of shocked him. I don't know exactly what's going on with Robert's car, but he's off the pace.
I can tell you one thing. If I was driving that thing, I wouldn't like it.
Let's see what happened here.
He just come off wide. He's in trouble way back before he hit the wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't quite understand that. The car doesn't look it doesn't look as fast as it once was, but it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it.
And the gap is closing 1st to 2nd. Terry Labonte leading Harry Gant, and Gant is closing. We'll be right back to the North Carolina Motor Speedway to run this one down. 13 laps to go.
And there's 10 to go.
And as you look from the DuPont aerial camera, DuPont finishes, the official finish of Winston Cup and Busch Racing, you look at Kenny Wallace's car. It has brought out the caution flag here with 12 laps to go. We'll show you what happened. Wallace was running 3rd in hot pursuit of Harry Gant, and he brings out the 6th caution of the day in the TIC Financial Ford. Let's show you what happened. Hermie Sadler's closing in on him here.
Yeah, I don't know. Hermie did a good job of staying out of trouble here.
Boy, when that thing does that, it's all over. See the oil going up under the rear tires there? That steering wheel's of no use whatsoever when that oil shoots under those rear tires like that. There's nothing to do but ride it out.
Mike McLaughlin inside, and Hermie Sadler gets a face full.
Yeah, he's just real fortunate he didn't get into that stream of oil coming out of those pipes.
Just a passenger now, right?
Yeah, and Presley's in the pit.
Well, let's check down on pit road and see who can get tires and who can't.
Well, the deal is Harry Gant cannot. When I talked about 2 tires per position at the beginning of the show, that is under caution. You can take as many as you want under green, but certainly not under caution. Terry Labonte, they tell me, has 4 available under caution. So they're waiting for his arrival. We'll see if he comes in next time by. It doesn't seem like they're absolutely sure whether Terry's going to come down or not. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, Randy, I'm standing in the midst of a lot of confusion around Robert Presley's car. They brought him in to change the right side tires. Get this, they didn't have any more lug nuts. There were no lug nuts glued on those tires. Now they're having to take them off the tires that are on the car and put them back on the ones they're putting on. When Robert came in, the car was about to swap ends there. Looked like the track bar was bent or something when he hit the wall there. So they got more problems than these tires are going to fix, I believe.
Somewhere, Glenn, it looked like he flat spotted that right front, either coming in or at some point on the racetrack.
Darrell, I seen something really bad there. That car's not tracking in a straight line. The right rear is way over from the left front, so the car's running sideways.
Yeah, well, when he hit that wall over there, it does a lot of damage. He hit it hard, and I don't mean this in a comical way, but by the same token, that if he had a sponsor, folks, he could have got him some more lug nuts, and he'd have been ready to go for those tire changes.
Hermie's picking up somebody's laundry here.
Or the Saturday paper.
He's lucky that's not on the grill part. Of course, they take in a lot of air down on that lower section there.
I think he did more damage to the car than that paper's going to do by nerfing somebody once in a while.
And getting nerfed.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be a minute before we go back to green to finish this one off, so we'll take this break from the North Carolina Motor Speedway and be right back. Wave the green flag, and they're in turn 1 with 6 laps to go. Single file restart within the last 10 laps. Robert Presley penalized for too fast on pit road, started all the way at the tail end of the line. So here are your lead lap cars. Left side of your screen, Terry Labonte. Harry Gant is right with him. Hermie Sadler is 3rd. Randy LaJoie is in there in 4th. And then way back, the 99 of Presley.
Yeah, and he's coming to the front.
Folks, take my word for it. We're not going to watch him a whole bunch, but I guarantee you, Robert Presley, not letting that lick to the wall hurt him a bit. He's flying around this racetrack.
Yeah, he is. But
I don't think he can jeopardize the top 4 from there, buddy, with 5 laps to go.
No.
6th place, Tom Peck just snuck underneath Mike Wallace there, top of your screen, to take away 6th. They are 1 lap down, but racing hard with Dennis Setzer. There they are, right in the middle of your screen.
Darrell, let me check you out for tough. Who do you think's going to win between Harry Gant and Terry Labonte?
I believe Harry might be able to pull this thing off. If that thing doesn't skip on him, he's got a chance.
We're about to find out.
He looks good. He looks awful fast to me. And he's closing right up on Terry's back bumper. You got to remember something. Terry was leading the Daytona race last week on the last lap, too. Whoop, got another caution.
Turn 3, rather. Turn 3. One car sliding it up to the fence, feet to it. No caution. Well, the self-cleaning banking does its job, and Tim will come around the apron, try to get back up to speed. Gant pressuring Labonte as they go through that section of the racetrack, and off turn 4.
Harry looks a little bit faster in the center part of the corner, but he loses ground coming out of the corner.
2 to go.
That lap traffic ain't going to help.
Hermie Sadler's going to be 3rd unless Randy LaJoie catches him, and Robert Presley will be 5th. Tom Peck is 6th. Mike Wallace.
Harry's going to have to take the outside if he's going to do it, I think.
That would be almost impossible.
1 to go.
He's going to have to zinger in there and turn. He's going to have to zing into turn 3 high on the outside to get him.
Well, it's Terry's race to win now. If he don't make a mistake, I think he'll probably close it out.
Harry tried a little outside line there, and it didn't work. Yeah.
Checkered flag will be in the air, and here they come off turn number 4. 3 wide in turn 3 for 7th place. Labonte's going to win it. Here comes this mad scramble out of turn 4. There's 3rd place going across. And look at him, 3 wide. Bobby Dotter, Mike Wallace among that bunch racing for 8th place. And for the first time since Watkins Glen in 1991, Terry Labonte will drive a Busch Grand National car into victory lane.
Well, that's a great race. He ran well all day long, and he got himself in a position to win. So congratulations to Terry. Harry, I'm sure, is probably satisfied to run 2nd to Terry, because Terry had a fast car.
Here's your top 5. Hermie Sadler 3rd, Randy LaJoie 4th, and Robert Presley also on the lead lap, finishing up 5th. 6th was Tom Peck in that dogfight for 7th. Unofficially, they're saying Mike Wallace, then Dennis Setzer, then Ronald Cooper, and Bobby Dotter 10th. They were just about 4 wide across the line. Mark Martin finished up in 11th.
So Goodyear's prevailed again today. Robert was on the Hoosiers, and everybody else was on Goodyear's.
Well, I'm going to just tell you right now, we've enjoyed you up here today, and I want to tell you we wish you the best tomorrow.
Well, thank you. I look forward to it, and I'll get better at this. I'll calm down. It's just I'm not used to looking at this thing from this perspective, and so I won't holler so much next time.
Well, Darrell, happy to have you with us. There'll be a note in your mail as to whether or not you passed the audition, and we'll be in touch. But for now, don't quit your Sunday job, okay?
Well, I wasn't planning on it. No, I'm just going to work on Saturdays and see how I like it.
We enjoyed having you.
Thank you. I've had a great time.
Terry Labonte in victory lane.
Scoot over a little bit. Yeah.
Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Terry Labonte climbs from the car, gives the fans a wave. Very popular victory here. And boy, what a good start you're off to this year, Terry.
I'll tell you what, I really am. You know, we had a great run at Daytona last week, both Saturday and Sunday. And today our MW Window Chevy ran super all day long. We qualified good and had a pretty good run. These guys do a great job for me. You know, I told them, I said, it's been a while since we won a race in a Busch car, but I felt like when we started winning them, we'd win a bunch of them. But maybe this is the start. They did a great job.
Well, they certainly did, and kept tires on you all day. His wife, Kim, coming up to give him a big hug there, big kiss. But everybody else having a lot of tire problems, changing. But I understand you had tires left at the end of the race.
Well, we didn't pit the last time and got tires. We could have got 4 more, and I kind of messed up, and I thought, I forgot what the rule was. I just didn't come down pit road. We were able to hold them off. The car worked good. The tires cooled down. That helped us.
Well, seeing Harry in your rearview mirror there those last few laps had to worry you a little bit.
I'm telling you what, that guy is so tough. Wins so many Busch races. I said, oh, man, I'm in trouble. But we held him off. He's a great competitor, and I knew he was going to be tough.
I think Terry Labonte is going to be tough the rest of the year in this division and tomorrow in the Winston Cup race.
A win and a 5th to start the season for Terry Labonte. A lot of fellers are feeling pretty good. He's not going to run all the Busch races this year. Here's a look at your top 10 unofficially. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 200 has been brought to you by Mr. Goodwrench, the GM expert at participating GM dealerships.
Tomorrow, TNN televises the Goodwrench 500 live here from the Rock. Some of your local listings may say 12:30 Eastern time. We're going on at noon, straight up. Be sure to be with us. Still lots more to come today from the Rock. We'll talk to some of the finishers and preview tomorrow's Goodwrench 500. Here's Randy Pemberton.
Mike Wallace here with a good strong run. 3 wide battle going over the start-finish line. How was that?
Well, it was tight. You know, the last lap I was guarding the bottom of the racetrack because my car was really loose and there was just a few laps to go. And we come off of 2 and I thought I had a run at them, and all of a sudden 1 come to the top and 1 went to the bottom, getting into 3. So I kind of had to roll out, else we would have had one heck of a wreck down in 3 and then give everybody else a run at me getting off of 4. But had the cars in one piece. We're pretty happy, and go to Richmond next week and hopefully do better.
Did you see your brother? Your brother had a heck of a run out there as well.
Yeah, Kenny ran extremely well. I was asking him on the radio. It looked like he was okay, and I guess it blew a motor getting down in 3. It's sorry to see that. Kenny needed a good run. He had a good run going, but his whole team, my team, the FDP brake people, Duron Paints, you know, they all stand behind us, and it'll be a great run. We'll be fun all season.
Okay, if anybody's sleeping, of course, this is Rusty's brother and Kenny's brother, Mike Wallace. Go ahead, Mike.
He's the middle.
Okay.
We're standing by with Robert Preston, and this guy has had a busy day. He was first, he was a lap down, he was 5th, he was 2nd, then he was in the wall. Had a fun day?
All we done was just called up all day, you know. I'm just glad to get out of here in one piece and everything and go on to Richmond and see what we can do there.
Well, I heard you tell somebody the car was a little tight. Is that what caused you to get in the wall, or did you bump somebody? What happened there?
Well, just come off there and was giving Harry a little bit too much room, you know. I knew we didn't have a shot at beating the 14 at that time, so I was going to let Harry get up there and try to slow him down, and then, you know, let these Hoosier tires cool off, and then we was going to make a run at him.
We had some problems in the pits there, though, later on. We saw a couple of miscalculations or whatever. Does that frustrate you to have those things happen after you've given it all you got out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, you know, it's just one of them deals. You know, this is a new team, and we ain't really got everything squared away yet. just going to take a little time.
Well, understand that this should put you in the points league probably with your finish last week plus today.
Well, we hope so. You know, that's what we want to do is finish these races and try to win a championship.
Okay, we understand you will be second. Good run today, Robert. Way to keep coming back from adversity, and we'll look for you next week at Richmond.
Thank you, Glenn.
To remind you folks, Robert's a bit under the weather, suffering from laryngitis, among other things, so not as usual perky self. Here's your Craftsman update on the Busch Series points, brought to you by Craftsman Tools, a line of 1,600 hand tools made in America and guaranteed forever. Terry Labonte with a win and a fifth will be the point leader. Robert Presley, first of the Busch Series regulars. Hermie Sadler, 1 point back of Robert in third. Tom Peck, fourth, and Chad Little picks up fifth in the point parade after a 15th place finish today. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Okay.
Glenn?
Well, we're standing here amongst a bunch of guys that had good runs today. First of all, we've got Randy LaJoy here. Hermie Sadler's always over there, too. We'll get him. Randy, good run today. Looked like a lot of fun out there.
I tell you what, I was having a blast. We kind of got messed up yesterday. Had about 6 laps to practice. The car was a little better than I wasn't qualifying. But we're in the show. A lot of cars went home. So I'm just happy for this Fina Lou Moroso team. They did a great job in their pits. And I was having a lot of fun out there. Got to the front. I think if we would have had a little more practice time yesterday, we could have been the car to beat today.
Well, also, Hermie Sadler standing over here. Hermie, you finished third today. Got off to a little bit of a rough start there. Got the car beat up a little bit. Boy, you sure brought it home good.
Yeah, we took a couple hard licks at first caution over there, and really, I was really worried about it. We took a big lick in the front end and the back end, but I think my Virginia Loveless race crew did a super job, getting me in there to pits all day, and we made the best of a bad situation, I tell you, and I'm really excited.
Well, this guy has done an awfully good job since he came on this circuit. Looks like your experience from last year is really paying off now in the super speedways.
Well, we got a much better program this year, I think. The guys did a good job putting some new cars together. We've got some new bodies with help from Chevrolet this year, and things are looking good for us. I've got a year's experience under my belt, and that should be the key for us, and we should be a contender, I hope.
Well, I think he's already a contender. He won 1 race last year. I think we'll see this kid in victory lane a lot this year.
I think you're right, Glenn, with a car that got as banged up as his did the start of the race. To bring that thing home third was quite an accomplishment. Labonte the winner, Harry Gant second, Hermie Sadler, Randy LaJoy, and Robert Presley. That's your top 5. Tom Peck in 6th, Ronald Cooper 7th, and then your photo finish, Mark Martin wound up 8th. Dennis Setzer 9th, and Mike Wallace 10th as they came across. Bobby Dotter 11th, Elton Sawyer were all part of that. Then Morgan Shepherd, Jim Bound, and Chad Little. Tim Feedlewood was 16th, Tracy Leslie, David Bonnet, David Green, and Stevie Reeves in his Rockingham debut. Ken Wallace was 21st, Mike McLaughlin, Kenny Wallace, 15 laps shy of a 3rd place finish, Ricky Craven, and Johnny Benson Jr. Roy Payne, Rodney Combs, Joe Bessie, Jason Keller, and Mike Garvey take you back through 30th place. Then Phil Parsons, Chad Chaffin, Dave Resendez, Richard Lassiter, and Tommy Houston. Followed by Shauna Robinson, the outside pole sitter, Kevin LePage, Dale Earnhardt, Randy Porter, and Dale Jarrett. Finally, Barry Bostic and Kirk Shelmerdine, first car out of the race. Let's go to Randy Pemberton. He is with the driver who finished 6th today.
Tom Peck, 3rd in the points position after finishing 6th today. I know there was a lot of pressure. You stepping into Steve Grissom's car for 1994. Did a well of a job today.
Thank you. It wasn't pressure, it's an opportunity. I mean, I had a great team. Channel Lock's behind us 100%. We're a Chevrolet factory team. Steve Grissom spent a lot of time putting this team together, and you know, it takes a sponsor, it takes a team, and the guys got me in and out of the pits. I could not ask for a better deal than I got right here.
Tom, you've had a lot of success on this tour, but not what you wanted to. Is this the team that can catapult you to a championship, or if not, your first win?
I don't want to jinx myself, but I think so. I mean, I honestly do. I mean, everybody's behind me. I've been with them all winter. I fit in. I mean, personality-wise, I'm happy. And that's half the deal. The guys believe in me. I believe in them. The Channel Lock people believe in me. It's made to order.
Okay, good luck next week at Richmond.
Thank you.
Good run for Tom Peck. Terry Labonte today picks up his 3rd career Busch Grand National victory. And speaking of Richmond next week, TNN will be there. The Hardee's Frisco 250. Saturday, March 5th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Live from the network that brings you more Busch Grand National racing than all other networks combined. TNN, of course. Next Saturday at 1 o'clock. Winston Cup cars are going out to practice, buddy, and we'll look ahead a little to the Goodwrench 500 tomorrow. There are a bunch of them lined up there.
Boy, I tell you what, just to make this race, was a feat. I'm telling you, the people in provisionals are people that normally sit right up on the front row.
There's one of them. Dale Jarrett had to use a provisional for the second race in a row. So did last week's pole sitter Loy Allen. Let me tell you who did not qualify for tomorrow's race. Danny Sullivan, the former Indy 500 winner. Ward Burton, the former standout of the Busch division. Rick Corelli from Winston West. Jeremy Mayfield and T.W. Taylor did not make the show.
Well, I tell you what, it's a tall order. It's going to be a lot of that going on. And when they get to Richmond, I mean, it's going to be the same way. A lot of people, good teams, are going to have to go home.
There are more teams committed to run the entire season in Winston Cup than there are spots in the field for most of these races. Let's go back to Randy Pemberton.
David Bonnet's crawled out of his car. David, it had to be a difficult race for you, not only emotionally, but of course it was physically with your neck. How you feeling?
Well, I feel pretty good. Just the side of the neck's hurting pretty bad, but you know, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do a little workout here a little bit. So, you know, I got there a couple times. I'm driving the car with a headlight all the way over, and you just can't do that. And they got me a headrest, and I got a little better, but I'll work on it and get better.
When do we expect to see you back again?
I'll be at Richmond next week driving somebody else's car.
Okay, good luck there, David. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Dennis Setzer, a little bit better success at Rockingham this time. You came here last fall for the first time, had to go home, didn't make the race, but from 31st you finished ninth. Pretty good day.
Yeah, it sure was. Ricky Pearson, these guys, they worked on this thing all day long. They done a great job. It's a super team.
Are you getting more comfortable now in the super speedways as you're getting some experience?
Yeah, a lot more. After coming to Daytona, we went testing Talladega. That makes a lot of difference when you get somewhere like this. Makes it kind of like a shorter track, you know.
But you got to be looking forward to these short tracks that are coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah, the Alliance Tractor Trailer Training Center's cars always run good on the short tracks, but I like those short track deals. I'm at home on those things.
He certainly is. He almost won the Winston Racing Series championship last fall. He's won I don't know how many races on short tracks. I think you'll see that 59 car running up front in the next few weeks.
Dennis Setzer looking forward to a strong rookie season. There's Ernie Irvan, runner-up at Daytona. Jeff Gordon, who had a strong run there. Jeff Bodine is on the pole for tomorrow's race, and like today's pole sitter for the Busch race, he wears Hoosier tires on his Exide Ford. Mark Martin will start on the outside pole in the Valvoline Ford. Jeff Gordon lined up there will be third. And here's Mark Martin about to go back to work. He'll be carrying our TNN onboard cameras tomorrow for the running of the Goodwrench 500. Jeff Gordon will start third, Brett Bodine fourth, Ted Musgrave fifth. My pick for the surprise of the season is Ted Musgrave. I think he is going to surprise a lot of folks, and he'll probably end up in victory lane this year.
I got the same feeling. I mean, he's a very talented race car driver, and he's got a race car there that's second to none. I mean, if Mark Martin's is good, his is good. And you know how good Mark's car runs.
Look at Mark Martin. Coming up tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. The only show you can find on anywhere on your television at the same day, the same time every week, to bring you updates on the world of auto racing. Pat Patterson and Race Day, 11:30 a.m. and then 8:30 p.m. They'll recap everything that happened in the world of motorsports on this weekend. Race Day on TNN. There's Todd Bodine going out. What a tough Daytona 500 he had.
I'm telling you right now, I thought maybe he might win that thing. He just a very talented race car driver, and he could win any race that he goes into. He has talent on major speedway, short track, it don't matter.
Harry Gant, Molly Dallenbach getting ready to practice. Dale Jarrett. Ernie Irvan will start sixth tomorrow. Kyle Petty seventh. Bill Elliott eighth. Darrell Waltrip ninth. Bobby Hamilton 10th. And you'll see it all tomorrow here from the North Carolina Motor Speedway at noon Eastern Time. Running the Goodwrench 500. What's happening during the start of happy hour practice, as they call it, is the pace car leads the field around the track at the mandated caution row speeds. The drivers, teams can get an idea what that looks like on the tachometer. 45 miles an hour here at Rockingham is the pace car speed. There you see the margin by which Terry Labonte led Harry Gant to victory here at Rockingham in the Goodwrench 200 today to notch his third career Busch Grand National victory. This copyrighted telecast of the Goodwrench 200 is authorized under broadcast rights granted by North Carolina Motor Speedway and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any transmission or reuse of pictures, accounts, or descriptions of the event without the express written consent of the Nashville Network and World Sports Enterprises is prohibited. For Glenn Jarrett, Randy Pemberton, Darrell Waltrip, and Buddy Baker, I'm Mike Joy. So long from Rockingham. We'll speak to you tomorrow with Winston Cup Racing Live.